Hello and welcome to a special Brokakaka where we hate JoJolion. Grr. I'm Jim.
I'm Sam.
And we're joined today by two special guests. Would you like to join yourself, special guests? I'll go with the first one. Hi, Aeonstar. How you doing?
Hey, what's up? I'm Aeonstar, the #1 ranked JoJolion hater in the world.
It's true. And we're also joined by Grayfruit. Hello.
Hi, I guess I'm trying to take the title. I too have been seething about JoJolion every day of my life since it's finishing. So
This is our JoJolion.
I just thought of a great idea.
What?
We should have everyone in the comments should say who do they think out of this podcast hates JoJolion the most.
and I just
Won't
want to
be
make
me.
it clear that I don't. It's good. It's a good part.
Yeah.
But
This is us
we'll get
airing
into it.
grievances.
What are you
We
talking
have many
about?
grievances to
the
air.
worst thing that has ever been put to paper or any other form of media or exists corporeally.
Like there's Mein Kampf and then there's JoJolion above that.
Jesus.
Let's not get too
But
crazy.
so yeah, I love JoJolion. But I got my gripes.
We
I'm a
all
little
do.
angry gremlin man that hates certain things about JoJolion.
Hey, if they couldn't tell by the 5-hour spoiler cast, I don't know how they couldn't know, Jim.
Yeah, so I would recommend that if you want to hear more positivity about JoJolion, I would recommend checking out that little
The little
spoiler cast we did. It's just a
the
little
first
5-hour
half at
spoiler
least
cast.
is way more positive.
Yeah, once we hit like chapter 80, we start getting real negative. But yeah, so do we have anything we want to start with? I feel like obviously like the big thing I think that gave most people agita are like the big plot holes in JoJolion.
What plot holes?
Yeah, guys, there was a
Um,
Reddit post. Didn't you read the Reddit post that makes the flash forward make perfect sense?
That totally explains everything and
Yeah.
doesn't just make it completely inconsequential and have no purpose in the story and still doesn't work as a plot point.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
It really is. I think for me, like if I had to pick like the biggest offender for anything that I wish could like die in JoJolion would be, I think it's chapter 81. Is that the one with the
83.
flash forward?
I think it's
I have it
83.
burned
83,
into
thank
my
you.
memory.
I know. So Sam and I started covering JoJolion with our
68.
stupid little podcast since chapter 68, I believe. So we were like in the thick of it when that chapter came out, and we were like, it was like a fucking nuclear bomb hit us. It was like, oh my god, there's so much to speculate on.
Yeah, I remember I went back and watched that, or I listened to that episode actually, because I was like, I want to hear, because I remember everybody was super excited about the flash forward. Because it was like, oh, this seems significant. Fucking we got pie on our faces though, because
felt-
it literally wasn't.
It felt like a major change to the status quo, and it ended up just being not that
Literally
at all.
nothing.
Literally nothing is exactly it. Like it honestly for me it represented like a change in how I view JoJolion, like and how I interpret JoJo as like a fiction. Like I really have put aside the idea that there's hope. Not hope. That sounds like really
Getting
pessimistic.
so doomer about it.
I really did put aside like anything that's like built up long term. I was not expecting like any payoffs, and then it sucks because I went and when we recently did our like 5-hour spoiler casting, I went back and reread the first half of JoJolion, and there's legitimately stuff that does come up like 30 chapters after it's first introduced. So
Yeah.
it really,
Wild.
I think it's just like this weird kind of like singular event that is just. I don't know. I can't imagine what Araki was thinking except to like make a weird, funny chapter that drives suspense.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that got ruined in hindsight because, like, especially when we went through spoiler cast or like the tier list stuff. Like, it's like this stuff in hindsight is like not good now.
Yeah, it
Or, like,
like,
what it
it
brought.
ruined so much stuff retroactively, and like there's so many oddities. Like, Araki is not the type of author who just like completely ignores everything that's come previously to this degree and this recently. Like, I know people joke about like the Rocky forgot shit, whatever. Like, he does have a level of consistency that he likes to keep, in that like he at least keeps track of what's going on in the broader strokes. And the flash forward was a big plot point. It was like the major focus of one of the chapters that had only happened like 2 years prior. And when you go back through JoJolion, like there are some small inconsistencies, like when they go show the Kira's apartment with Josefumi walking in, it shows them having a rokakaka plant, which like that's not what happens. It obviously he changed his mind and how he wanted to go through with that, but at the same time, it's not like a big deal because it feels like what we ended up getting was something like he thought through. It doesn't feel that way with the end of The Wonder Review.
I would say the exact same thing about Carrera. Carrera is also kind of in a weird retcon state where there's a photo of her. The first time we see
Fuck
see
that
her,
photograph.
Yes, there's a photo of her
There's
with
a lot wrong with that
Josefume and Kira, and implying that they were ever together in the same place. That's what at least that's all the photo implies, that these three characters were together at one point.
And also the
Josuke
on,
has the birthmark, which is total fucking horse shit.
Oh, yeah, also
Oh, God,
the
don't
Josefume
even-
birthmark thing is like
It's-
a brain breaking.
it was
It's
a
literally
tattoo
just
he
a
got.
retcon. In the flashback where they show baby Josefumi, he doesn't have it, his mom doesn't have it. They show their shoulders clearly. I think Araki literally was just like, oh shit, and like tried to
could've
cover
said-
it up.
Tattoo, I guess. Sure, because he wanted to be part of that family. Why not?
It's
Sure,
so...
anyway.
But going back to like the whole Carrera thing, like so later on, like we learn that from Josefume in like the Vitamin C arc that Kira had not met Carrera ever at any point.
She was a stalker.
Josefume kind of knew him. Yeah, he calls her like a stalker. So I mean, ultimately that's fine because Carrera just doesn't do anything in the story after that point. But like the flash forward stuff has like so many things that lead you to conclusions that cannot happen and that do not happen.
You see, it's weird at this point because I'm not sure if Carrera not appearing after saying that she's going to reappear directly to the reader at the very end of her arc. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing anymore because I kind of like the fact that she wasn't there and couldn't ruin herself.
See,
I
something
I
I
agree.
something
I always say
realized-
that, like-
oh, sorry. Go on.
no, I always say that. Like, I'm glad she didn't come back because she would have just ended up dead at the end.
Oh god, the whole 2-chapter timeline thing. Fine. Alright, we have so many directions we can go with this. There's so many things to complain about.
Well,
What were you saying,
I was
Gray?
just gonna quickly mention that I think literally when she said we'll meet again, and this is gonna sound really dumb, I think she was talking like we kind of did see her again, but in the past, because after that happened, there were a bunch of flashbacks. So it's like
Like a narrative way.
I
like
guess
the reader will
like,
see
yeah,
me again.
That's like the only way I can kind of make sense of that
But
line, and
that
even that
was-
is, of course, kind of nonsense.
That
And
was
all we gotta
the
know, she's
very
scamming
next
off screen.
arc. There
Yeah.
was like 2 chapters in between then.
We just have
Hey,
to assume
maybe she'll
she's
show up in
scamming.
part 9, guys. That's the asterisk that you got to put after every single thing that we're saying today.
Maybe,
Oh, yeah,
oh yeah, maybe they'll put the bite marks in part 9.
The entire plot of JoJolion will be retroactively changed in part 9. But as it currently stands right now, I don't give a shit.
I had in part 9 starts like it just cuts to a character saying somehow, some way Toru has returned, and then set the basis off.
It's like when the Emperor comes back
Yes,
in the
we're gonna see-
last Star
We're gonna
Wars
see like a
movie.
jar full of wonders of you.
Oh no, Toru's being grown in a lab. That's terrible.
Rock
Honestly,
clones.
I wouldn't put it past, like... no. That's a
Rocky
bit
seems to
much.
really like this Toru character.
He certainly does.
He wasn't as
And I
obnoxious
don't
on
like
the
him.
reread when it wasn't like I had to wait a month between Toru encounters. You know,
Yes.
it could
I
all
like
just, I could
money, says
breeze
Toru.
right through it.
Yeah, I found Toru to be a way more interesting character when early on in like the end of like the Wu arc and like the beginning of the what's it called, the Wonder View, where he's kind of being paired against Josuke as like a romantic rival to Yasuho. I find that so much more interesting than him just being like the big bad. Like
big
I
bad
think he
who
could have been like a cool arc villain.
Got his
I mean,
friends killed.
I
Help
don't
get his
even
friends
like
killed.
that all that much, but it's way better than what we got.
I just like being this weird like weirdo to Yasuho, just blurring out their sexual like adventures.
Yeah, his introduction is funny as hell. There was like a lot of potential for
amazing.
Toru as a character, but
He had a
as
personality.
time just like goes on, you just slowly start to realize that there is nothing behind those eyes. No thought.
He's
Literally.
had a thought in his head his whole life.
The lights are on, but nobody's home.
Like when you first introduced, I think I told Jim that like it's so obvious that he is going to be like a villain, but like it'd be a good mystery if he just wasn't, and he was just like a romantic rival and not like an actual like rock human or
Stand
something.
user
This
villain.
motherfucker has been selling this magical fruit for the past 70 years since World War II, and he
At
still
least.
isn't rich.
At least through World War II.
Or he wants more. He wants even more.
What is he like? What does he want more for?
Don't
Does
they-
he actually
like
like
Mr.
Rock
benefit
people
from the
want-
money? He doesn't seem to benefit. He wears the same clothes over the
He's
past
like
70
he's
years.
like Mr. Krabs. He just wants money. He just likes money.
Is he
Don't
just
they want
hoarding
Mr.
it
Krabs,
like a
yeah.
dragon?
Immortality? Right? I thought they talked a
Ah.
lot about like, oh, we seek not dying. That's how my
So okay,
Translation
that
read.
actually is like a really valid thing that what's his name, Urban Gorilla mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's funny because like as you're reading through JoJolion, each rock human seems to care about way different things when it comes to the rokakaka. Like or what's his face? Dr. Wu wants to like legitimately help people, whereas Urban Gorilla says like he thinks that humans are unworthy for the rokakaka and it should only be used by his kind.
Doesn't he say like
It
it's
just-
incompatible with them? I thought he said something
Yeah,
about like they
yeah,
don't have enough
it's-
silicon in their body or something
Right,
like
because
that.
the rock humans are entirely made of silicon. They just mesh better with that. It wasn't like elaborated on at any point what that means, like what
Yeah.
actual benefits they have if they just don't have to undergo an exchange or something. And it doesn't seem to matter in the very end when Toru undergoes the exchange with Tsurugi, which that's a whole other can of worms. But yeah,
I feel like we need to like block out a bit of time at the end to just talk about like the very end because there's so many like, things in rapid succession.
That's the thing that stemmed from the flash forward was Tsurugi was going to be the main villain.
Or a villainous role at
Or a-
all, or
how
any.
Even
far
though
are
you
we
have
into
King
this? 10
Crimson.
minutes? I already have a headache talking about this shit.
So the whole like Tsurugi villain, like, so, okay, it's really funny how recontextualized Tsurugi as a character was for me on my reread because Tsurugi is horrible. Tsurugi's a terrible, like, goblin is like a compliment. Tsurugi's a
Sexual
horrible,
deviant.
wretched child. Yeah, like sexual deviant, like just horrible and bad. And
I
they
feel
kind of like drop that when he is going through his trauma arc near the end.
Well, he's too kind of asleep to do that, or comatose.
And Yasuho stays far away from him.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
we never
That family
got
just nothing.
we never got anything with like Tsurugi and Yasuho's relationship after like
Good.
Tsurugi's like, I'm sorry, Yasuho, but
Yeah,
this is the
honestly,
way it
good.
has to be. You have to die for me.
I have to lick your elbow first, but
Everyone's horrible to
Why?
Yasuho the entire part.
she does not deserve it at all. Like of all the bullying that Jim supports in Part A, that he supported.
I don't support the bully.
Sure you don't.
She literally like okay, I totally forgot about the time Yasuo tries to kill herself. That's like a crazy little like thing that happens on one page.
hair
and then
clip.
it's never brought up again.
The famous hair clip arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was
Damn.
just like a reference to some movie, and it didn't actually matter that much to her character in the long run, which is disappointing because I thought it was cool
was-
when it started. It like gave her some depth, but there was really nothing more to it.
And in canon, she told the story to like Mamazuku and Josuke, so
Yeah, Mamazuku didn't give a shit. That was funny, but yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, I think
I
Josuke
liked
was
when
like
he was
not
like,
even
"Eh."
listening too, because at the end he's like, "Are you talking about me? What's going on?
No, he
What
was
are you
just like
saying?
out
What
of
is that bullshit
earshot.
coming out of your mouth?"
go get that hair clip.
Yasuho was just explaining her backstory to Rai Mamazuku, who just does not give a fuck.
I mean, to be fair, when we get his backstory, no one else really gives a fuck.
No one even gets to know it. He just dies without telling it to anyone. I do want to say, okay, so for me, a big point of contention of Part 8 is like the sort of disappearance of Josuke's character as the part progresses. Like, he is so central to everything in the first like 30 chapters. I would say it's like almost only focused about Josuke. Then we start getting introduced to like, oh, there's rock humans, and we start getting like Yasuho chapters and stuff. But having him like not care about his identity at the end, and like he barely cares about Holly, and it just makes me really sad because that was such a driving force for him
I know
Yeah.
that we were just like shitting on the whole, oh, it'll be fixed in part 9 stuff, but like I do think that's not something that we could actually make judgment on until part 9, just because like that might be a major plot point of that, which I still don't like, because who knows like what's going to be going on with part 9, and it seems like the Holly thing is JoJolion's story to tell. But at the same time,
Yeah.
without like the foresight, I don't think we should make judgment on that. What I do think we should make judgment on is the fact that Josuke's character arc makes no fucking sense.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
we have more
that's-
resolution on Jofume's mom than Holly.
It's
All right,
true.
Yeah.
all right, don't talk shit about her. I will fight you on this. That's the best part of the finale.
Weird, though.
Wait, we'll get to that. I just want to talk about Josuke. So yeah, his character arc not making sense.
Okay.
What do you mean? I want to go into that a little more.
So first of all, his whole resolution at the end of the story about finding his own identity is directly tied to the fact that he now considers himself a member of the Higashikata family, a family that he has interacted with once in the last half of JoJolion.
Once each, pretty much, except for Joshu.
Like one chapter at the end of Ozone Baby, that's it.
Yeah. I thought
Otherwise,
that
he
was
has
really
not
weird, too.
spoken with them.
Yeah, because, like, Dai is, like, horrible to him in the beginning. Like, he has, like, a couple interactions with Joshu, and none of them were pleasant.
He's got a
like, any of
restraining
them.
order on like half of the fucking Higashikata family at this point, probably.
Hata's the only one, and she only had, like, one interaction with him, like, in one arc, and that was it.
He has no actual emotional tie to any of these people, and yet the whole ending is based around the fact that, like, as much as I love that scene at the very end with
I do
him
too.
like being brought into the family and getting to choose the cake, that's a really sentimental way of going about it. And with Joshu actually like kind of showing some camaraderie after all the shit that's been going on, that's lovely. But like
But
he
it's
hasn't
also on the
been
trauma he
around
faced.
them. He,
I
like,
know.
I get it. Like, he's the adopted family, and they've lost so many people at this point that they just kind of want to have whoever they can in the family. But at the
Noticeably
same
absent.
time, like, it just doesn't feel earned, which is an issue with a lot of the finale.
Mhm.
And, like, the flash forward made us think, like, okay, this is gonna be actually bring Daya back into something, because we thought like, the whole, like, stealing
And
stand.
Hato.
And Hato, like, she's gonna use her heels. That's other shit.
Hey, she fucking ruined the demo dude.
I know, but
But like in the finale, like noticeably absent, and I know it's like the reason, but is Norisuke. Like Norisuke is the one character that Josuke had like
a relationship.
a real connection to, and like their scenes are some of the strongest I think in of like any of the character interaction in part 8.
God, you
As-
remember he had a sister, like kind of like a half sister, and then doesn't like really care too much.
Who?
Yeah.
Huh?
Who? Huh? Huh?
I don't know, forget.
What?
My memory's kind of like fuzzy about them. I think
Josuke has
of
a sister?
him. I didn't
Haruna?
really feel like it. A half sister. He only half remembered her.
Oh, my
It adds
God.
a new definition to having a half sibling, like if you're a fusion. So does that mean if you have a half sibling and you have a fusion with that person, would they become a quarter sibling?
I think it's
Oh,
more like
no.
Kay is his half sibling in law.
Twice removed.
For
Jim,
bad
Jim,
behavior.
if the Fast and Furious franchise taught us anything, you don't need 100% blood to be family.
Yeah.
It's true.
Who even knows what's going on with that shit?
I do get all of my life lessons from that series.
Let's not get into the Fast and Furious lore here. We'll be here for hours.
Could the Toretto family beat the Hishikatas?
Honestly, what do you think has less plot holes, Fast and Furious or JoJolion?
Oh, probably Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
be nice here.
I have only seen up to like I think the first 4 Fast and Furious movies.
Wow,
Like,
so only a
dude.
sampling.
Imagine
Yeah,
if
I have a
Fast
dollop.
Heads made their
Only
own
a
like
dollop.
JoJo Tube community where they're all like,
You haven't even gone to the
Like,
part where they
following
go
the
to
legacy.
space.
I've seen the Hobbs and Shaw trailer like thousands of times to test. I don't have an echo. I was all thinking I used a test echo on my Audacity before. It's like when you hear like
just,
The Rock.
torturing yourself by watching the same Hobbs and Shaw trailer. over
I have
and
to
over
see when The Rock summons his Samoan family.
Okay, so Fast and
Yeah.
Furious aside, and I don't say that lightly.
We're both about family.
let's talk about the bumblefuck that is. Where was I going with this? Kato Higashikata.
Okay.
I would think
So-
Calamity can't beat
I want to
family.
hear what you guys think about Kato first.
Okay, I want to go first. Wait, no, actually, Grayfruit, go first. You haven't said anything in a bit.
I mean, she kind of just does the same thing twice. She has like a classic move, which is like sloughing off the family curse to literally just some guy. I think like she shows up. She does that once in the flashback with the like bully kid, and then she shows up at the end. And she's like, "Sup, bitches! I'm here to do my classic move." And she does it again, and then she just dies. Like
exactly what I think. She has completely flat character arc. Completely, nothing happens with her.
But she cried, dude. Did you see the tears coming out of her eyes?
Okay.
Remember how evil she was when she like first like really had her like menacingly like sit like half naked in front of their lawn?
Her introduction is actually great. Like her leaving the prison, I think is a wonderful scene and like sets her up as like a villain.
Her introduction is one of the best things in JoJolion, which is why her turning out to just be like such a one-note thing at the very end that never delves into what makes her actual introduction interesting is by far the shit that has me most befuddled in JoJolion.
She existed just to get Tsurugi to the garage and then like basically not be affected by Wonder Review until she is affected by Wonder Review.
Yeah, she just
I
kind of
will never
decides
not be furious
to
about
not
that.
be affected by it. She's like, "No, you," and it's like, okay, whatever.
I
my
mean,
God.
just at the time, it's literally like childhood but kids playing, making up rules that are just gonna like work and not work.
Oh, and that's another thing. Wonder Review has no fucking rules. All right, where do we even?
It has 10
back to
million
Kato.
rules. Are you kidding me? It has 10 billion.
It makes all the sense.
Yeah,
It's
and
'cause
it
something
follows
flow
none of them.
calamity. Anybody
There's
that
no
tries
point in. There's no point in logic if you're not going to follow the logic.
the Toru defender just being, you haven't thought about the flow calamity explains everything. I'm just like, it doesn't.
I think,
it does not.
I think Sam might have brought it up, but like in our infamous 5-hour long JoJolion spoiler cast. But it's like funny looking back at conversations of people talking about how like King Crimson was such a confusing stand when looking back on it, like that is baby shit compared to the weird ass pulls that Wonder Review is able to do.
The
like
thing about
everything that he does to Mitsuba just infuriates me because it doesn't fucking make sense.
the thing about Wonder Review is not it just works. It like it's hard to understand. Like there's nothing like skipping time or whatever the fuck you want to call it with King Crimson. It just doesn't follow its own rules. It has clear rules. It's easy to understand what the whole thing is about, like just calamity, but it doesn't follow any of the fucking rules that it has for it.
It's weird. It has like other effects, like the disguise effect. It has like you can just put on other people and also just be caught on camera, and like people who haven't like the Toru or the head doctor haven't like contact with. I guess like I don't think it's like he doesn't come in contact with like Tsurugi, but it's like following Tsurugi at the school.
All right,
And it seems like there's like multiple versions of it, and they all can like activate.
But there's only
That's the one thing that like infuriates me. It's like
Let-
it can just kind of teleport to be anywhere it wants.
let's count
Yeah.
the number of abilities that we can perceive with Wonder Review. All right, first off, it can change its appearance based on who knows what calamity is about and like who perceives it and what's going on with that. And it's a bit iffy how that works, but it's mostly kept consistent. Number two, like 5,000 of them can appear at once, apparently. It's not shown in the actual canon. It's
Wait,
just kind of
is-
implied through
and-
the cover art and stuff, which isn't really, like, it's abstracted. But, like,
They could all be in clothes except for the one that attacked Josuke, was just naked.
yeah, what,
Yeah.
that, like, there's no reason for
With the
that
arm
except
blades.
for just, like,
That was classic, like, change to character
But
design.
why does Wonder Review need arm blades though?
there's no in-universe reason for it to be naked. It's just to keep the suspense, which I hate, but moving on.
Mhm.
Number 3 ability, the whole calamity shit, where if you pursue me, you will have higher damage taken by random shit being thrown at you and rain and whatever.
Pursue the stand
So the
or
stand
Toru.
can read your mind. This stand can
It can-
fucking read your intentions.
It can read your intentions, and if you
Or
intend to
gaslight.
pursue it, then a calamity
Or-
will befall you. And not only
Or
will a
gaslight
calamity
you.
befall you, but
It literally gaslit Pangea Land. Like, oh, that means you're pursuing me. You're definitely pursuing me. Then, like, yeah, I am pursuing you. and then Pangea Land died.
the calamities are... I can't even tell if the calamity is the amplification power or the fact that things will just start careening towards you, or if it's both. It just seems to like make shit worse even when it shouldn't be. It's not entirely clear, but like there's no defined rules for it. When Mitsuba just cuts off her finger, it's not because she was pursuing the head doctor, it's because she perceived the head doctor.
Yeah.
And
I was
didn't
wondering-
Toru say a line where he's like, if you see me, the calamity will be worse, and like...
He just makes up rules as it goes along. And not only that, remember back to the Pangea Land shit, where he just accurately predicts everything that the calamity will do? Just like,
Sure.
he just knows somehow.
He knows the initiative order.
Which
He
you
knows
could
it's like-
excuse as like, he knows how it works at this point. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of shit that he says there that he should not know.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of calamity being like organized. Like to me, calamity is sort of like chaos. I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be, but like the fact that calamity is like this orderly force, because the ending, so the very ending, seems to imply that even after Toru's death, the Wonder View is still lingering on in some way, and perhaps it existed before he was around, or whatever. But it's just I don't understand why calamity has like intention.
It's
Yeah.
weird. It's like, but his stand as his calamity. It's also just like him doing like a remote control man that he has disguised also.
Which I kind of do like the idea of just like calamity being like calm and sophisticated, but out to get you, like kind of a Grim Reaper sort of role. But
I
there's
always-
just...
Isn't it like karma? Don't they make a point of saying at
And
one point
that's
that it's like
the, like,
your
fifth
bad
one. I don't know
karma
what we're
coming
at.
back to haunt you or some shit?
The jail cell scene. He talks about karma.
Yeah, karmic
Mamazuki is the one that
retribution.
interprets it that way.
Calamity is stronger if you have done worse shit in your life, just like the general concept of karma, and that just straight up does not matter. Like at
That's
no
why
point
Mitsuba
does
cut
that
her
come
finger
into
off,
play.
because she's such a frigid bitch. Just looking at him, one single glance was enough to sever off one of her fingers.
God. And
But like, what distinguishes the gravity of a airplane panel that's like as big as the house careening towards you? Is that not a big calamity? Is it a bigger calamity to get impaled by a fucking spray can of whatever that was?
I was like, also just like the plane thing, the flash forward also just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Did Yasuho murder someone?
Yasuo's done some
Well,
fucked up shit.
Yeah,
Hell
Yasuho has murdered people. She murdered those people that tried to kidnap her and sell her to like human trafficking.
That was Paisley Park's kill, though.
Did
It's
she
the
kill
extension
them?
of oneself, Jim.
Well,
So
they
then
get in a
technically, like,
huge
nobody in
car accident.
JoJo has ever killed anyone.
She
if
got-
they're stand doing
Yeah, I
it,
call
doesn't
bullshit
count.
on that.
Someone got ejected from the windshield, which it doesn't really end well.
They're fine. They're parachuted away.
Walk it off.
One thing I just want to bring up, like, I'm not the first to say this, obviously, but like this is basically just kind of like building upon the idea of what Love Train had at the end of part 7, like this idea of redirecting misfortune. But to me, because this is the inverse, basically, it's like you're choosing to point misfortune in a certain place. Because it seems like he has power to do that. Like, they pretend early on that it's about your action towards Toru or the head doctor, but if he's close enough to you, he can basically just do what he fucking
If he
wants.
just walks up to you, you see him, you're like, oh, he has to activate it, which I guess sometimes he just doesn't have it activated
The
at the hospital,
issue-
but he does. He can control like who he wants you to see. I guess that would activate the stand, because like there's sometimes with just the head doctor, it'll activate when you're chasing him, but when you're seeing him, you're fine. Like
The issue with Wonder of You is I think at some point while writing the arc, Araki realized that he made a 100% defensive stand, and there was no way for like the stand to actually like initiate anything. it had
that's why
to
he
be
gave him rock
initiated
insects.
by the actual protagonists, which, unless you make them dumb as hell, which, oh god, there's a bit in there, in that arc,
Josuke's
where
plan.
they do some shit and it's just dumb as hell in hindsight, but there's no way that there's going to be any conflict. So he ended up having to put in these, like, bullshit calamities that don't really follow the rules of the ability, as well as the rock insects, which
Devin.
you need to send them out, and he could have put out Obla D and Obla Da and Obla whatever the fuck in the same time as da do 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 da da da. He just didn't because it wasn't convenient for the plot.
Remember when he just fell in water and the cookies just fell off conveniently?
That wasn't even my big issue. My big issue with
like,
that was
the
how the fuck
cookies?
did he know where
Oh.
the pool was?
I just call him Cookie.
They do look like cookies.
They do look
Yeah,
like
they look like cookies. Also, they're one of those things that, like, I don't know how that would be done in, like, a not, like, sequential art medium. Because, like, every time you see Josuke, he just has more of the cookie, like, the rock human on him, or the rock insects
He lost
on
his
him.
eye.
Like, I don't know how that's gonna... Are they just gonna, like, grow really quick? Or... I just imagine them kind of, like, appearing rapidly. Whatever, this is not important.
Yeah, I think it's just like them kind of splitting apart, like cell reproduction.
Like Osmosis
Yeah.
Jones.
Or I was thinking like the Milagro Man's like dollar bills, kind of.
Yeah, cutting apart and then forming new ones, healing itself.
That'd be cool looking, actually. I'm sure the anime will not fucking care at all, and they will just appear, like, on when the camera's away from him.
Yeah, probably. But and they might
but,
do something
yeah.
cool with it.
So, JoJolion. We're talking about...
That
I forget.
I was talking about that cursed standoff with Wonder Review and Josuke and
Yeah, I just...
Hamazuku.
One thing I want to say that also feels, like, weird about Toru as a character is how he just, like... He kills Ozone Baby.
Yes.
For
He
no reason.
seemingly, like, doesn't give a shit about Wu. Like, he lets Wu die. I know that there's not, like... I don't know. In my head, I imagine that the fucking head doctor would be, like, near or in power to, like, save Wu. I don't know.
He was
I think it's
making
weird how he just lets his guys die.
he was making pee jokes while Wu was dying.
Yeah, Jim, it's like when we heard about
That's kind of
We were doing-
awesome now that I think about it.
you ever talk about we do in part 3 where like if Enya just worked with Whole Horse, they would have probably killed them all.
Yeah, it's like... If the villains had, like, half a brain...
Like, imagine if Dr. Wu like was inside someone and made them pursue like the head doctor.
Oh god.
my gosh.
That's fucked up.
There's
I'm just
always
trying to think about how that would actually work.
there's
Is
always
making my head hurt.
issues with JoJo where it's like if these two characters work together, no one would fucking be able to kill them. They
I
just
know.
don't because plot.
But it's
Yeah.
just the part. It's just the parts where like they had the chance to or potentially could have if because they're right there, but they just chose not to. And just let them die.
Okay, is there anything we want to complain about that's not related to Toru? Because
Oh
Yeah, I'd like to move.
I
I,
wanna
do
talk-
want to talk about...
the
I
other
want to
quick
shift
deaths.
to the bite marks. I would like to briefly discuss the bite marks. I think they can kind of be, like, seen as an abandoned plot point, but what annoys me about them is... So, like, what would you interpret? Let me ask, like, what do you think the bite marks represent, or are supposed to be?
would have been cool if it was Radio Gaga.
Yeah,
It
if
would've
it
been
had
really
teeth.
I was gonna say it was gonna be like just their stands actually manifesting finally.
It would have been really
Yeah.
funny if Radio Gaga took off Josuke's clothes.
Because like Joshu had like a heavy fever when he gets his, but like maybe just because his stand is like actually kind of strong compared to like Yasuho.
He might have just been sick from, like, living in sewage for 2 days, though.
Well,
That
they
was,
say,
that was before that, Jim.
don't they say at a certain point that like I think Daya and both Daya and Ojiro got their stands around
Yes,
where
they
the walleyes were, and I think Ojiro says like I was sick for a while or something like that. I might be remembering that wrong. And then they say
Ojiro had it for a long time. Daya
Yeah.
also got it when she was, like, 3, so they existed before the appearance of the walleyes.
But Daya specifically says like, or I think Ojiro says specifically like where the walleyes were before they actually showed up,
yes.
which is
yeah.
so weird and does not, because the Saint's corpse wasn't even there at that point, was it? Or I guess no, it was. The walleyes rose up. I can't even
Because the
make
same
sense of
corpses
it.
are covered, right?
Yes, it was brought back to America.
Yes.
Or
Where
yeah.
it belongs.
The walleyes like rose up to like as like a protective wall. They say it's like a wall around Morio to protect from like the tsunami implicitly, because it was like right around the time that like the earthquake happened, right? But I think also sort of in like a symbolic sense, it's like everybody who goes there gets their ability from there, and it sort of generates Yasuo and Josuke's abilities that sort of end up protecting Morio in sort of a general sense too. So I know we don't have any idea what the fuck actually bit them, but it's just something about the walleyes gave him a little chomp. Maybe it was like a Jesus ghost. I don't know. That would be fucking
Johnny
amazing.
ghost?
Yeah, or Johnny.
He did have a bug bite fetish.
But his head got totally crushed.
Yeah,
That's
the ghost head.
unfortunately impossible.
His ghost head,
when he comes back as a ghost, he doesn't have his head.
Anyway,
He saw them as bug bites, and he wanted to take a little like nibble off of them.
he saw the
There you go.
birthmark and he was like,
But yeah, ultimately, like, I Come Down is not very upset about the bite marks because it is kind of just totally dropped, and it has like these
Has no
you can like
effect
kind of
of anything.
headcanon an explanation, and
Yeah.
like ultimately what it is telling the reader is, oh, a stand, this character is a stand user.
They're going
It's
to have a
basically, like,
stand.
what it's communicating.
yeah. And I kind of like how, since Josuke, it kind of falls in line with the whole Josuke is an entirely new person thing, because Kira had a stand and Josefumi had a stand, but he apparently still needs the bite marks to activate his stand. But I guess that does check out, because he's like a brand new boy, right?
A brand new 2 baby boys in 1
Yeah, with 4 balls.
with 4 balls.
I don't have any issues with the bite marks themselves, but I do have an issue with the fact that we never got any actual resolution to the walleyes, like what their purpose was.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah.
Like, I get that we all assume that it's because it was Johnny Joestar, but technically we don't really know that for sure, and it kind of feels like with the rate that they were going with in Radio Gaga of explaining things, that would have been explained if it was the case.
Yes.
I felt like was like the first time we saw like the Lucy in the flashback, it was supposed to be like, this is just a devil's palm, that's all you're getting, that's all this basically is. It's just another one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange because there's so much emphasis placed on the Holy Corpse in Steel Ball Run, and now they just don't place any emphasis on whatever corpse is causing the actual, like, walleyes in JoJolion, which is kind of important, but, you know.
It's literally like how the part begins. Like it's like the focus of the initial beginning. Like we get this whole backstory on it.
It's the inciting incident.
Also,
And you know,
also the whole curse thing too.
and you know what else appears in the walleyes?
No.
Flashback
Eyes.
Man!
No, don't say it.
Oh my god!
You said the evil words.
You're not allowed on here anymore.
At one point, I was talking
Jim,
on the
bleep
Discord
that out.
about
Jim,
like,
bleep that
oh,
out.
JoJolion has plot holes, and somebody was like, name one, and you can't say the Flashback Man.
God.
Yeah, it's just like, it's really strange that he would so early on focus on like this very, like we see him 2 times in 1 chapter. It's not like it was an accident. He didn't accidentally draw a face on a page. It was a guy, presumably, that he planned.
Yeah.
And
I just
it's
gave
just
up
weird too
speculating about
because
him.
the first half of JoJolion really is consistent with solving mysteries. Like there's even like little breadcrumb mysteries that get solved. Like
Yeah.
the tattoo on Kira's arm, which is also, in hindsight, it's weird that Kira has that as a
That
tattoo
doesn't-
and it's
yeah,
just like a
it
publisher
doesn't
mark.
make any sense, but whatever, moving on. He stayed at the Higashikata house for some reason.
And he
was nowhere to
carved
stay
it into
for
the
some
railing
reason.
because he was just a huge fan. He just loved that symbol.
This design's sick. I can't get this tattooed on me.
It's like the equivalent of getting like Penguin Publisher tattooed on your arm.
I would be
Like,
equivalent of like just getting a tribal tattoo.
Yo, check out my
No, that would-
scholastic fucking like tramp stamp here.
Or in hindsight,
or the
Scholastic.
it's kind of funny that, like, apparently Kira was in such close proximity to Yotsuyu this entire time, and Yotsuyu just didn't realize that he was the one that stole the branch. That's pretty good. Right under his nose.
And that happened like there was a lot of time between the branch theft and the ripening of the fruit. There's literally like I think 12 months or no, it's longer. I think it's like 13 or 14 months
I think, but
that it took to bear that fruit. So it was a long ass time.
yeah, I think like
I
I forget. I don't know if it was like time between the Sight and Birdie guy getting the fruit and them receiving it or something like that. But there was like at least 8 months. Like it was pretty massive a difference.
That's another thing that like annoyed me as like as a hashtag gardening fan. It annoyed me that like early JoJolion was like super into like actual horticulture and like the whole like discussion of grafting, and they had to find like a similar plant to graft it on, graft this tree branch on, and then it took like months and months for it to actually even get to a point where it could bear fruit. And then the end, fucking Jobin just like throws it on a cactus, and then like a week later, it just fucking they put magic moth larvae
Yeah, they
in
had the
there.
bugs,
Whoa,
dude.
you don't like triangle shit?
Wait, when they're alive, we're like literally right before it happened. It's like, oh, we could put it on a cactus or something, and then it's literally just like
Yeah.
a cactus.
I think
like
they actually-
Fucking Raimon Mizuku is like Rick from Rick and Morty, like coming with these magic creatures that make the fruit appear immediately.
I think literally they just stick it on a cactus like completely at random too, and then it's actually in the next scene where Mamazuku's like, they would probably glue it to a cactus, and Jobin's like, phew, glad we just instantly did the right thing accidentally.
Doesn't Norisuke go over there to see like, oh, look, a cactus behind Tsurugi? That's weird.
Yeah.
He's like in the middle of the yard with a cactus behind him. But like,
Oh,
okay.
my boy, why are you carrying that cactus around? We just died.
He probably paper moon bullshitted his way out of that. Whatever.
Yeah, no, he did.
He probably. He just,
They show
assumed.
Jobin was the cactus, I'm pretty sure. Or no, we're conflating different scenes. There's one
That's
where
the
Jobin
funny-
is a
that's
cactus,
a
and
really
there's one where they're
funny-
gluing the branch to the cactus. Let's not get
That's my
confused.
favorite line. Is yeah, and Jobin was the cactus.
I mean, I think Jobin is a cactus for most of the story. So
I mean,
Yeah,
he
he's
does
got the
get
spiky
needles inside.
clothes.
He's
He
got the
gets needles
spiky
inside of
clothes.
him. He gets a needle inside of his heart.
oh yeah, he
Symbolism.
does. That's great.
Oh my god.
He
Got
really
hit by a
is
jumping
Speaking of
cactus,
which-
Jim.
We were talking
This is
about
a good
the Flashback
transition.
Man, and now we're talking
Oh.
about Jobin. We can't get to this because we're going to
We're
talk
supposed to
about
talk
his
about Flashback
disappointment
Man.
of a character arc.
Okay.
All right, we'll
Actually,
table
while-
Jobin for a minute.
While we're on the subject of the rokakaka, can we talk about how the fact that how it's actually like its ripening process makes no fucking sense, and the countdown to
Yep.
harvest makes no fucking sense?
Remember in Radio Gaga where Toru just like digging digging out fruit.
Yeah, what the fuck was that supposed to signify? I'm like, it's
was
just
he
that he
was he
always
putting it there, or was
there.
he taking it?
He was
Like,
walking
what-
away with it, wasn't he?
I think he was just maintaining the rokakaka orchard, which he apparently has on Higashikata property for some reason.
I think he was taking
It's never
them.
fucking mentioned ever again.
Well, I mean, there's only one chapter left. You're not going to mention it again. That's not how that
Or
works.
will it-
But you know,
Evil never really
yeah,
dies.
it was never mentioned before.
No one's ever really gone, Jim. Especially Toru.
It just like that it's so funny how they just had to give us that last little taste of Toru. Like, oh, you thought he was gone? No, he was actually.
I'm happy
fucking-
Toru actually is Emperor
here.
Palpatine of JoJo. Of just always being there.
I do like the
Yeah.
fact that it kind of like makes it official that the rock humans are essentially the pillar men of SBR, but at the same
Yeah.
time, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, back
like-
to
It's also just weird because, like, so early in JoJolion, they make a point, like, multiple characters mention that the Rokakaka is, like, indigenous. The tales are that it's indigenous from, like, New Guinea, I believe. And it's, like, but it's been in Japan for, like, almost a whole, like, century. Why are there stories about, like, it being mystical? Like, we fucking see Toru in, like, the 40s with it.
He probably
nobody
has a farm.
ever
of
walked
them.
onto the well, actually, they did. That's the whole point of Radio Gaga. Never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah. That's the worst part about it. It's like that's why I was confused. Is he like placing them or taking them? Because it's
Was
I
he-
don't care.
did
I
he just
think
he
he's
had a
just
farm there
cultivating them there.
He had a farm there, and then until the earthquake happened, and the whole landscape changed, it got fucked up. So he had to change his plan. But even then, it doesn't make sense because he had its entire plan of like becoming a head doctor, and like
Toru's
like,
I wish I
Like
could
a
just
decade?
hand him out of that scene.
because we learned that he was like making Yasuho find information for him as a child because he knew she had Paisley Park, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
He
what
could
was he
sense
doing?
it. He could smell.
It's implied
Paisley
that it was
Park.
him with the hairpin, right? Like, who else would it
I
be?
guess so. I mean,
kinda,
what was
it
his
could
goal
be.
with the hairpin? To get her to slit her wrist? Like, what the fuck?
do you see the hairpin still in her room?
The hairpin is the whole point of the hairpin is to like create distrust in her dad. Like he's literally giving her daddy issues with the hairpin.
So that he can fucking
God,
swoop
he's-
in like 10 years later or something.
Literally, I think
He
so.
really wanted
know,
that
the
picture of
whole-
him and her on the beach.
The whole Toru groomer thing was like kind of a joke at the start, but like as time goes on, everything like about him is super like
Icky.
like he really does like kind of condition Yasuho. And then for some reason, like I can't even understand why they break up after that point, because like he puts so much effort into her seemingly.
Yeah,
And-
didn't he say he broke up with her?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't really make any sense. Like, why would he invest so much into Yasuho and then just break off at that point?
Maybe he's literally
he's
just
just
an
like
idiot.
me. He's just crazy and
was-
stupid, and he makes the wrong decision all the time.
He-
Just
he
like
had-
me, I relate to Toru now.
He had issues with Akafu's wife at the time of the nursing home, and like it was just rough for him to deal with. So he had broke up with Yasuho as well.
Wow.
Have you guys seen that meme where it's like the crudely drawn guy who's just like, yeah, where he's like seeing something, he's like, hey, how you doing? And then he sees something bad, he's like, yeah. That's just like me when I saw Toru at the very last chapter. I was just like, yeah, that's him. Yeah. Like, I was like, I can't do anything about this. I guess I just have to accept
I
it.
hate. This like I don't know. Toru's just like everywhere. He's everybody. He's like a fucking vampire. Just like how old are you? How long have you been? 20 years old, I guess, because he's
No.
never changed it.
If he was a vampire, it would be funny and interesting, but he's not. He's just a random.
Then he would have had a rock human
boy.
baseball game with
Oh, that would have been funny.
to the
They
tune
do
of
attend a
Muse.
baseball game.
To the tune of Muse, Jim.
Okay, so
My-
sorry, but back to what I was talking about before with the whole countdown to harvest shit. Can we just like say that doesn't make any sense?
It
Like
does not
the
make sense.
specific
Yeah.
phrasing on every single one of those countdowns is this much time until the harvest.
Yeah, and everything
it
before
never
that time period,
concludes,
it's like
and nothing is ever harvested.
I think we also-
Characters eat the fruit
Yeah.
prior to the harvest, and it's fine.
Yeah.
They're
also
just
like
fine.
it's supposed to be like what, like 10 minutes before harvest when they say on like the end of that one.
The flash forward. I think
Yeah.
the flash forward is like 7 minutes before
It's
Well,
harvest.
and, like-
3
and, like,
minutes
as we
before
learn,
the har-
Tsurugi is,
3
like-
minutes and 24 seconds, I think, or something like
Well,
that.
as we learn,
It's
Tsurugi's
like
like
you've
Tsurugi-
seen that number so
I-
many times and you can't forget it.
Tsurugi
It's
is morphing.
into my gray matter.
Tsurugi is literally like transforming into origami, and it's like there's no way Tsurugi would have the energy to like step on a tongue, go upstairs, look at the body, and all that stuff. Like he's in no
Yeah.
condition to be walking around before like harvest. And then also have to getting to be picked up by Kato, like, and then into her cart and thrown.
It sucks because like the countdown, when you go read through Wonder Review again, you're bombarded by the countdown. There's a new one every like 2
Yeah.
chapters.
Mhm.
Have
And
The
then
first
it
time
just
it
appears, it
disappears at
happens,
some
like,
point and there's
5
no
times.
conclusion.
in hindsight,
I
it ruined so
created-
many of me and Jim's theories about like it was based entirely on that flash forward, and it ruined it completely by the end.
JoJolion,
I started obsessively making a timeline sheet, keeping track of how much time was left, trying to figure out the date. I was for one moment, I was really convinced that the head doctor's presentation about the rokakaka, whatever, rokakaka, was going to be on the 21st of September, based on the time. And I thought that there was going to be a big. I thought the stand was going to be like a big freaking Earth, Wind, and Fire reference again for the third time. And I was wrong.
We could only dream.
like
Yeah, at that point, I just gave up.
before we knew all the shit with the finale and how nothing was going to make sense, I kept posting about, like, because I thought it was funny, the fact that it takes Yasuho 48 hours to go across the town. But it's just
Unacceptable.
like, now it's so indicative of everything that it just was not at all thought out, and just like the number only exists to make it sound dramatic.
And it also took Gappy 5 minutes to get from the hospital to the Higashikata estate, so...
Yeah, it's really frustrating. Like, just this is kind of unrelated, but Sam and I have been watching Attack on Titan recently, and the beginning of season 2, it's very like dependent on things happening at the same time in different places, and the concurrent events happening and characters being in certain places, very much like how Game of Thrones also was. Like, characters are in certain places and they like stuck there. They can't just teleport around. But JoJolion just doesn't give a shit. But the whole point of having a timeline is to be like, okay, well, I know that Toru is here. I know that Josuke's here. But no, they can just be wherever they want, or it takes them two days to get to the house.
Okay, wonder if you can be in hundreds of places at once.
Yeah.
I just want to draw a line in the sand here because we're bitching about JoJolion. JoJolion's finale is bad, but it's not Game of Thrones bad.
Yeah, that's true. It's not nearly that bad. I would agree.
I have no opinion on that, but I was sort of thinking when I was like griping about it a ton after JoJolion ended, I was like, I kind of understand how Game of Thrones fans felt because I never watched the show, but
yeah, I felt that way with Game of Thrones, then I felt that way with Attack on Titan, and now I'm feeling that way with JoJolion. I love watching stuff as it comes out.
It's the curse. It's the blessing and the curse. But it's also fun to be part of the zeitgeist of the discussion.
It is, but like at the end, you're just filled with like so much regret.
I ultimately like to. This is like conclusion thoughts, but we're not there yet. But like ultimately, like all these things are like I'm sour about. I'm mad, but I still like have such a deep love for like the first part of JoJolion, and I really enjoy a lot of like the arcs later on. It really is just like that. Wonder of You arc is to me just so mishandled in so many ways.
Yeah, I agree there.
More so than like any other. Like I can't even point to like another individual JoJo arc. I would say like at least past like part 4 that I think is like so badly handled for so long.
Yeah, the closest people complain about is probably part 5's comparatively like. That's what people say, like the ending of it, where it gets like, you know,
with
some ass pulley, some weird shit, like stuff that kind of like doesn't, you know.
It has most in common with part 5's finale, but even then, it's kind of its own beast.
It's kind of a greatest hits of like all of Araki's worst writing mistakes from the past. You know, it's like we've got Josuke losing plunder. Let's not even like dive into that, but that happens. Which is like Giorno not really using his thing, and then he gets Go Beyond, just like Giorno has GER, which I think most people can agree GER is like not the most amazing character moment. It's
but
just
at least
kind of
it's
like I have a new
to.
ability now.
At least it's alluded to, and you have to like actually work to get it instead of just having it.
The fucked up thing about like Soft and Wet Go Beyond compared to Gold Experience Requiem is Josuke, whose entire character arc is about developing his own identity. He deserves to have his own stand that represents him, rather than a stand that looks exactly the same as Josefumi's stand.
Yes.
So his evolution should have changed to reflect him as an individual.
That would have been so cool.
Which would have been perfect for a type of stand evolution like Gold Experience Requiem. But we didn't get that. We got an ability tacked on to Soft and Wet. And the worst part about it is it doesn't even have King in its name.
I was like, what if he like just fed you feed your stand the rokakaka and it transforms it, evolves your stand.
He's gonna get like a rock stand or something.
Just anything new or different, please.
Yeah, I'm like fine with Araki just sort of making up bullshit too. Like in part 7, all that shit about the spin, it's bullshit. But I was like, delicious, Araki, feed me more. This is amazing, you know?
It's bullshit, but it's aesthetic. Like,
yeah, and it's
you
like,
get its sensibilities.
It feels purposeful, whereas
the
this, it was
are always
just
cool.
like, his bubble now cuts through everything, sure.
The bubbles have no rules. Honestly, it has rules at first, and then it's just like, oh, he can make bubble shields.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is that it has no rules, which is bullshit in itself. But you know,
these bubbles, certain bubbles, if they come out of the birthmark, have spin, but like he doesn't remember half of them.
Oh god, the whole shit with Raimamazuku from Beyond the Grave explaining Josuke's ability to him, an ability that he has apparently always had and somehow never noticed, despite the fact that that ability causes holes to appear everywhere around him, like through that vending machine. and he
Why
has
does he
no
know about
control
the
over
spin?
it until he does.
Mamazuku should not know anything about the spin.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
get Rai Mamazuku knowing about the spin by observing nature, if that was at all established, because that's
He
an
just saw the
important
golden
thing.
ratio because he was such a Chad.
You know what happened
my
last
God.
time he observed nature? His dad died.
Yeah, I was so smart. As a baby, I invented calculus myself.
That's some Dr. Wu shit. I've never
Invented
failed
calculus.
once.
Never fail.
Until he did.
Yeah.
It sucks that he failed on that very day.
His first
what a
fail.
shitty coincidence.
Doctor
It's
failed for
almost
the
like-
first time. You won't believe what happens next.
It's almost like his entire ideology doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
I do like the idea of Dr. Wu going throughout his whole life only in situations where he knows he can't lose.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a fun idea.
He kind of comes
he's-
across like the ultimate Sigma male because he's like, I don't even approach women that I know won't desire me, or something like that. I was like, oh my god, Sigma grind set, dude.
He's like, man, I hope this woman who's in this fight doesn't develop a stand as a perfect counter for me. That'd be really bad.
Yeah.
Yasuho doesn't even have a perfect. Oh well, Mitsuba.
No,
Mitsuba doesn't
Mitsuba
even have
does.
a perfect
Yeah.
counter to him. He just
just-
sucks.
She has she has the
Mitsuba's
magic.
gonna do the suck though.
She has the magic arrows that can do whatever it needs for her, like shoot
He
him
can
out
shoot
of
her baby back inside of her.
or shoot her,
It can
or
reattach
heal
her
her.
fingers.
Yeah, she has like sticky fingers, like rules to it, and and all that shit.
It would have been cool if, so after she cuts her 2 fingers off and she had to use her stand to like put them back, it would have been cool for the rest of her life she had to have
Arrow
2
fingers.
leaves on her fingers to like keep them fixed there.
Hey, but only
Awakening
Mamazuka's allowed to have
one
actual
leaves.
fingers staying off.
Also, that's another thing. This is such a minor gripe, but I'm ripping into JoJolion. I'm just ripping and tearing. The fact that Awakening 3 leaves can use more than 3 leaves makes me a little, gives me the
Wait,
agita.
when does that happen?
It happens several times.
Yeah,
I remember
actually.
on the rewatch, Jesus, the reread. You can see times where she's using like more than one, like specifically in the one where she puts the 2 on her fingers. She activates a few more outside of that, and I'm like,
Once
She
you're
only
attached,
used
you can
one
use
when
more,
She
I
had her
guess.
fingers cut, but I'm not sure.
I think there's a bit of confusion there because the first time she did it, she just like she placed 3 arrows and she goes 1, 2, 3 leaves, and it's like I think a lot of us assumed that was laying out the rules, but I think she
No.
was just being like fucking phlegmatic about it, basically.
Yeah, but it's
being
kind
a
of
nerd
bullshit
of, like,
that her
being-
stand name doesn't actually mean anything.
What song?
Like, why is
even
it called
Did we
3
ever
leaves if she
figure out?
doesn't have 3 of them?
I heard
think
a lot
someone
of people
did-
go
did,
like,
like-
it's some nothing band that made that song like 2 years ago or something.
It's like one of those things where
Awakening the Centuries by Haggard or something, but I don't think
it's like
that's
the farthest stretch people made to like try to link it to its song, if I
Huh.
remember it. Like,
Weird.
It's a good song though.
I forgive Mitsuba because I love her, so it's fine.
simp.
I'm going to simp over the mom.
Oh man.
I love that Jobin only likes.
Can we
her
talk about
once
Jobin now?
Her nose gets really like crusty and gross.
Can we talk
Yeah,
about
let's talk about
Jobin?
Jobin.
Activated.
The
Oh,
one of the
God.
real main villains of JoJolion.
Oh, God,
So
great. Jobin, what
to
do
me,
you-
like I think I could even forgive the flash forward chapter, but the way that Jobin is like fridged is very unfortunate. Like it feels like we are in the middle of his like arc, and he just gets like snuffed out.
We are at the the climax of his arc of like his character like.
Because he just made like basically, I mean, we don't know it at the time, but like, or maybe we do actually, but he made like the point of no return where he attacked Narisuke,
Yeah.
and at that moment, like the family is like totally against him, like they're terrified of him.
He basically
He's,
broke
like-
the family.
Yeah, everything is falling apart in his hands, and like this could have been the moment for him to really snap and like have a real confrontation with Josuke, but instead he just punches and he gets
He punches a
needle.
shadow of a head doctor and then gets a bottle into his chest.
the
It
more
was so fun. Like we went through months of people saying, "Okay, when's Joba gonna reveal to be alive?" Okay, next chapter, I feel it. Next chapter.
Yeah, I was living a fucking dream.
All the
for a
copium.
year, for almost a year.
oh man,
There were so much
How the
copium highs.
fuck-
That
How the fuck did we not get a like where Radio Gaga is? How the fuck did we not get an arc with Jobin and Kado? Like
Yes.
I realize that like it's, it
has him
didn't
talking, like-
happen. Toru main villain, whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't care about being right. How the fuck did that not happen?
Because all we have is like she's like she's calling when she's like on the hammock outside, like she's like on the phone with someone, and like to tell him what's going on. I mean, we're pretty sure it's Jobin, of course, but
I think it was confirmed to be Jobin, right?
Was it confirmed to be Jobin? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It probably was, but like, that, and then like you don't see any interaction because she disappears and Jobin just like doesn't talk about her.
Like, is there any actual reason for Kato to not be around for 40-something chapters? There isn't.
She said she was going to take her life back, even. She said, like, I'm going to keep, like, invading your home, Norisuke, deal with it. And
like, literally everything that's introduced about her character is completely dropped, except for the fact that she loves her family, which she's a mother.
The entire time.
She could have been outside.
Her character becomes, I am a mother, I love family, kill, kill, kill.
Because you would have thought she would have been, like, outside the estate during Ozone Baby or something. Because, like...
Yeah, because we see that this is her area. This is her zone. She loves suntanning. That's the only thing I know about this character.
The house is the radius, and she could have been, like, outside the house and, like, maybe be like, oh, shit, my kids are being attacked. Like, the only kid I care about, and my grandson.
I headcanon that she was so fucking traumatized by the one time that she went back home that she like only went there a few times, because the one time she's like, hi everyone, I'm back, everyone like screams at her, like Jobin, like Joshu like sexually harasses her. Like I think she's just like, I don't know if I want to actually be around here anymore.
She's having a girls' night out with all the other female characters just disappeared.
Yeah, but that doesn't really make
that's
sense
where they were
with
this
how
whole time.
the end of her character is. Like, she cares so much about her family, apparently, that she's willing to go through all this, but she doesn't want to be around them or at least, like, talk to them. She's never going to the estate over this period of, like, a month.
She's just gonna be, like, assaulted by Joshu again.
Does she really only speak to Jobin in that time, and, like, only once or twice?
Yep.
That doesn't...
I guess so.
That doesn't line up with the Kato we're introduced to at all.
Like,
she only appears in 4 chapters. How hard is it to stay consistent with it?
The one like headcanon we had to think about was just like she had to go to the room with Mitsuba holding Tsurugi and like talk to Mitsuba about, I'm gonna take Tsurugi, put him in some cards, don't worry, it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
she basically plays
going through
Tsurugi like a Yu-Gi-Oh monster there.
Yeah, she did.
Oh my god, the whole thing.
That's hilarious.
Alright, so, question. Why the fuck does that work? That shouldn't work. That's not how the rokakaka works. Why did it need to be ripe? Why does the juice from the plant make a difference? That doesn't make any sense. Why would that change the direction? Alright, so presuming for a second that for some reason the juice from the branch is able to redirect it because it's put in Tsurugi's mouth or whatever the fuck. Why the fuck did Jobin not just give Tsurugi the rokakaka as soon as it sprouted?
Good question.
Why did he think he had to wait? Because clearly he didn't.
He could have.
He's dead now because of that.
He could have put like Ojiro in a coma or something, or like the girl that his girlfriend, and like use them as like the people he would transfer with. Also, just a funny mindset of just like, see, the Clammies don't affect people that are conscious, so he just literally just threw an unconscious child, and Clammies not going to affect Tsurugi in midair.
That's actually really funny. Never thought of that.
Yeah. If you
also, like, I will never. We mentioned it before, but I'll never not be mad that her physically throwing cards at Toru was not an attack.
Not
until things are hitting him.
You know what is an attack though? Mitsuba glaring at the head doctor. That's
potatoes.
An attack.
Well, also, Kato destroying the potted plant.
He felt personally under attack when she did that.
He's literally neurodivergent and a minor.
He literally considered Kato's destroying like the rokakaka plant like an attack on him, even though she wasn't even thinking of that probably.
Yeah.
It's I hate the rule.
Yeah.
I hate that rule set. But Toru stands are gonna crawl out and like defend like how Toru's actually like makes sense and all.
This is bumming me out, guys.
Well, can I interject with positivity then? Because
yes,
I rereading through it. Vitamin C, my man, that arc was so good, and it was kind of like, it almost makes the rest of JoJolion look bad, because it's like, in that arc, everyone has something to do that actually pertains to their personality, and like, all the parts are actually moving in a way that makes sense, and it's really engaging, and the characters are doing things that are exciting, and it's revealing cool new information. Great stuff. It's almost like the rest of the part like couldn't live up to that.
It's almost
You
as
know
if
what?
after
I
that,
hate
it kinda just,
positivity, but you right.
I told Jim in the spoiler cast, like, where like Devo felt like the most main villain to Josuke than Toru did.
JoJolion
Yeah.
popped off too early.
Yeah,
Blew its
true.
load.
Devo is so fucking awesome. That whole flashback chapter is fucking awesome. Like, it was like
It's
the most
really
hype
funny
thing
because as
ever.
we were going through it, I was kind of like, I was thinking like in my head, like, okay, what if JoJolion had been structured differently? What if there was like way more build up to Damo? What if Damo had been like a head villain, main boss, whatever, blah blah blah. But I think that it like still wouldn't have worked too well. Like I think that
Yeah.
the stories like fundamentally really pivot so hard into the like doctor direction. Like it's not
'Cause they
like,
spend
I
so
think
much
You know
that
time
it's-
at a
what?
hot.
Like, I
they-
don't personally think. I think you could keep the entire structure of JoJolion exactly the same, Wonder Review and Radio Gaga and all, and just change a few minor things, and it would completely resolve half the shit in the story. Number one, don't put in the fucking flash forward. Just cut it completely. It serves
Just
no
erase
purpose.
that chapter.
Yeah,
Like, what was the point in putting it in the first place? Number two, don't make it so that the rock humans' main defining feature is the fact that they can't feel love for some reason, because that just makes them boring.
Well, but also, there's
Yes.
how many rock humans do we meet that are just have relationships that are just toxic, or like not on their end?
Yeah, like Aisho Dainenjiyama is such a great character and didn't belong in D tier that
We'll get there.
no, but all right. But like Aisho's so great because he shows that all right, this is a two-sided thing. It's not just the fact that rock humans are evil that makes them incompatible with humans. It's just the fact that like there's a disconnect here that must be overcome if they're to actually like come together in some way, which is so interesting. And like you have this whole thing introduced in chapter 99 with the rock humans, their whole retcon story where it's they grow up in the wasp nest and they're inherently parasitic from the time they're born because of their childhood. That's really interesting. That's a good way to kind of give a foil to Josuke. But at the same time, just establishing rules for a species is not characterization.
I wish we met a
Yeah.
female
You
rock
have
human
to-
like, as a character.
Yes, a female rock human would have been amazing. You know what also would have been amazing? You know who should have been a rock human? Not even Kato Higashikata, like I'm sure people will
Herrera.
assume that I'm going to say. Rai Mamazuku should have been a rock human.
I would think Herrera could have been a rock human female.
No,
Honestly,
Rai
I
Mamazuku should
really
have been
agree
a
with
rock
you.
human because
He had
one,
personality.
his personality already matches that of a rock human. Number two,
Yep.
Yeah.
giving a rock human ally makes them more nuanced. And number three, having Rai Mamazuku develop this bond with Narusuke and Josuke, just it makes it more impactful if he's doing it against his own nature.
And that's when we
And
can get
it
some more
also
insight
makes
about
it so that the
backgrounds.
other rock humans, Toru and the TG University doctors, it makes their characters better because they're not just like, they aren't being forced to do this because of their nature. They're succumbing to their nature. They're giving in to their baser instincts, which is
It's like-
just so much more interesting.
A really good like comparison is, and if you've played Mass Effect, like in Mass Effect 2, one of your squad mates is basically like the villain grunt that you fought in the first game. Like the Geth are like the foot soldiers that you fight a million of, but in the second game you get Legion, who is one of those same Geth, but he's like a totally interactable character that has like, you learn so much about like the way this, like they're basically a species even though they're like robots. But it's really like, yeah, it would have added so much more depth to the rock humans. And we even see like Yatsuyu and the Dubiwa guy, Aisho, they have like a connection. It might be small, it might be like very insignificant compared to like other characters, but he like Yatsuyu cares about Aisho and he like goes to his rescue at least once. And there's kind of like that one implied scene where Aisho is being like drowned, which I
The
would
house is
assume by,
being
like,
knocked down.
The flood. Well, that's a different one.
One of the many
There's like a
times.
weird, quick little scene where he's being like drowned, and I think he sees like Yatsu's face or something.
Yeah.
But
Claiming
yeah,
that
that would
there's
have been
no
like really
love
cool.
between the rock humans or rock humans
I don't
in
know.
any species.
Dolomite seemed really happy until his girlfriend wandered off over the fence into electrical post, and then he like got
Yeah, like-
pushed her out of the way, that she wandered off.
The claim that they don't feel love is such horseshit because that's not what's been established
No.
prior. There's just difficult for them to feel love. Saying they flat out cannot feel genuine love is just like so contrary, and it makes Toru such a shit character because the whole point of Toru is the wonder of you. I'll never know why you feel the way you do because there's a disconnect here. And like that's completely nonsense if you can't feel love.
Because imagine if Mamazuku was a rock human, and like the group learns that, and Yasuho learns Toru is one, they'd be like, oh, did he never actually like me at all? When we went out or anything, like it could affect her.
It gives
Like,
so much
and learn
less
more about Toru.
nuance to the characters to just make what their
God.
species is what they are.
The hair clip chapter could have been like a flashback of Yasuho and Toru going out or something, and then getting us a little like more information
Well,
about
that would
them.
require that Toru be established before chapter, what is it?
Yeah.
You would think
82,
so. That would be
Come
great.
on.
Toru at that point.
He could have though. Because I remember like early on, there's like so much stuff at the hospital where like you could have introduced any of the doctors, or like Toru could have been there, the nurse or the head doctor or
just not
something.
How
How
Rocky
fucked
writes.
up is it
not
that
how
the
JoJo
PG
works.
University Hospital is established 80 chapters before Kefu is?
Yeah, none of the doctors that we know, all the evil bad guy rock humans that are doctors are there.
Josuke was just chilling in the main villain's den.
Like, and they all know about Holly, so
Yeah,
You
they're
think,
the
like,
ones who did it to her.
yes, they would be in the room or at least see one of them, but no.
Like, it's strange that Holly's gotten 4 visitors in the past week. That hasn't happened for a while.
Huh? That's suspicious.
Oh shit, it's the guy that the Demokon group is constantly going after for the past how long, which we know because we contact each other extensively, which is something we would do because we work together, and we
look,
both
the
have a
camera.
concern about this.
On camera, he kind of looks like Kira.
Yeah, he kind of looks like that Kira guy who
No,
is
he's a
related
totally
to
different
Holly,
guy in
the
the same
person that
outfit.
we are experimenting on. Weird, huh?
Don't
Or
be
that
silly.
Jofume guy who's also comes here a lot to visit. Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. One thing I want to say, like, kind of pivoting, like, for me, this might be like my nuclear brain take. Like, my favorite like aspect of Part 8 is like before Rock Humans. Like, I think Araki really like nailed in the first few arcs how to do like the mundane stand battle in a way that like gives me so excited. Like, this is why I like California King Bed so much. Like, the stakes are both like extremely minor and extremely high in a way that we haven't really seen for like maybe since like Part 4.
Yeah.
And then the whole like Shakedown Road, like I love the implications of what like a stand that exists in a community and how a community like learns to cohabitate and use it for their advantage. Like I find these things to be so interesting. And then when it just becomes a story about like, oh, we got to punch the big guy, I don't know. I miss out on these like smaller stories and these smaller elements that I cared more about.
JoJolion's concept is that of a mystery sign-in, and it devolves into a battle shonen.
Yeah, you really feel that battle shonen near the end. Like, it is just like you really start to miss the chapters when it wasn't just like a fight happening. Like, there's a lot of little bits in between. Like, after the Shakedown Road, we get like the whole Johnny Joestar like flashback story, and that is just like such a great early JoJolion payoff because you're just like,
Yo, remember
holy
that
shit.
part you liked? Here's Johnny
Yeah, like,
again.
You see Johnny, and then you see Johnny die. Like, holy shit, like that's great. And it's not in a fight. It's in like it comes right after like a really interesting little like scene where they're technically fighting like a bunch of different civilians that are just using a stand.
You see,
Love
like,
Shakedown Road.
the whole thing with JoJolion being an alternate version of Part 4 is Part 4, it wasn't entirely slice of life, but it felt like it was more slice of life than JoJolion is, because the stakes were lower generally, and the stand users were kind of just like civilians that just had more power than they should deal with. And it felt like just a lot chiller, like we could get to know the characters a lot better.
Yeah.
But
You also like learn
JoJolion,
the town through the stand battles as well.
yeah, JoJolion doesn't have that, so we don't really like. All right, so it's a lot more focused in Steel Ball Run because the main focus is Johnny and Gyro. In JoJolion,
Yes.
we have the Higashikata family, who get their one arc and then get dropped. They don't get dropped completely. They make brief appearances after that, but they're just not important anymore.
Dai gets
And-
beat to become a simp.
And they just don't get any development, which is why the whole idea of Josuke's arc being about becoming a member of the Higashikatas, it doesn't really work perfectly. It's not
the-
awful, but like it has so many issues.
It could have been way better built. Like if we
Yeah.
actually got like a proper Hato chapter with Josuke, like
The only good stuff he gets is her interacting with Joshu, but like every time we learn, Joshu get the most development. And, like you're never grow to like Joshu. He's like shitty person. Like you don't want to like this character, and like he
it's
never.
really funny too, because how Araki writes about Joshu, like I can't remember the quote exactly, but the reason why he chose to give him the funny like Milagro Man arc was he thought that it was funny that he was like a greedy character. He liked that he was like greedy and like very scrupulous.
It's a very
funny to
character-focused arc, and that's what makes it good. Because
But we
characters are
should,
good.
and the other two are just forgotten now.
I kind of feel
Like Dai went from a fangirl to like just not being existent, other than saying hi Josuke. I think the one time she sees him like afterwards.
it feels like JoJolion kind of, and I don't know if this is as a result of it being, I think by far the part that took the longest to write, but it kind of feels like Araki just sort of changed as a person over the course of making it, and like maybe his intentions with the part kind of changed as well. Because like I'm thinking about if I spent 10 fucking years working on any sort of creative endeavor, would it be cohesive at all? You know?
Yeah, that's actually an important thing that I wanted to talk about, because number one, JoJolion as a concept was spurned by the destruction of Araki's ancestral home. Like, that's very clear given the interviews that he's done. And that sort of thing just kind of like, that kind of feelings that you get from that whittle away over time. It doesn't go away completely, obviously. He probably still felt like devastated by it, but like it becomes more normalized as your life goes on. And so probably around the time that Toru came into fruition, he probably just like it wasn't as invested in the concept as he was when JoJolion first began. And number two, the Wonder of You arc like overlaps almost perfectly with the emergence of the coronavirus, which I think is a significant thing to take into consideration, that it might have changed his plans in the last minute.
It would
Which
suck if COVID
sucks.
turns out to be the thing that ruined JoJolion, right?
I
Wonder if you was
like,
COVID the entire time.
There's so many things that are unexplainable in the finale of JoJolion that I think that might be the case, which really, really, really sucks.
Going crazy in isolation.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's just like time and just having to worry about things a lot more, and like the stress from COVID and
Especially
shit.
in Japan. Japan was not like super. Still isn't super great with COVID right now.
There's so many like factors that could have come into play with COVID. I'm pretty sure Araki works from home for the most part, but at the same time, like the whole thing with COVID is stressful for everyone, and who knows what extenuating circumstances might have had behind the scenes. So it's hard to give Araki too much shit for all of whatever the end of JoJolion is, but at the same time,
like we said, we don't despise JoJolion. We have
of course.
we have
harsh
problems.
criticism.
I mean, I hate JoJolion. What are you talking about?
There's a lot we love about it.
Grr.
But I think we could also stand to, and this is not, I'm not just trying to be a hippie, we could turn the microphone or the microscope back on ourselves and be like, okay, we're a bunch of Westerners.
Oh, I hate myself.
No, we're a bunch of Westerners. We were, I assume all of us got into JoJo roughly like halfway through JoJolion's release. I mean, that's where a lot of us are.
I
this
was
is the
kind of
first-
earlier on, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
close.
around that point.
There's definitely a perspective thing going on with this being the
Yes.
first serialized part that most Westerners are seeing. But at the same time, I don't think that like makes the major shit go away. Like the fact that the flash forward doesn't make any fucking sense, or the fact that
Yeah.
the countdown to harvest doesn't make any fucking sense. Like that shit is just flat out doesn't exist in previous parts.
And people have grievances with all parts of JoJo. No part is really
Yeah,
safe from grievances.
But like JoJolion is a mystery story.
yeah, exactly.
This is
That's what makes
important for JoJolion.
Yes.
It begs you to ask questions about it, and then when you ask questions, you're like, oh, I guess that was just literally meaningless. Okay.
It sucks when a story is like you have to be in the perfect zone of not caring too much about the intricate details and caring at least a little bit so the story makes sense for anything to be enjoyable in it.
Like if you read a mystery or you play a game, like with a mystery like a Phoenix Wright or Danganronpa, you want a satisfying payoff.
Right.
And
Because JoJolion is
sometimes-
complicated. Like,
Yes.
people fall off of JoJolion because they just don't understand what's going on. So it invites you to try to dig into what's going on there. But
Yes.
if there's nothing, like, that makes sense in it, when you dig in, what are you going to get? You're just going to get a slap
Like,
in the
when you write-
face.
When you write a mystery, you have to keep track of what are the mysteries and like what solutions do you want. You have to keep track of them and like, try to have them pay off. Or like if you don't know what JoJo Lands is even gonna be about, so like we can't just say they're gonna be figured out then. But
You have to work on a
And they-
mystery from the conclusion outward.
yes,
Otherwise, it's just going to feel like the author has to know what's going on for them to have a leg up on the reader.
yes,
That's why the halfway point with Demo works so well, because if you go into it knowing all the mysteries, like it's still a fun ride because you still see the breadcrumb trail that Josuke has to follow, like the whole thing with his hat. It literally starts with him like, all right, like let's go find the hat maker in town and try and find like square one of where we're starting, and builds up to like all these little mysteries. Every few arcs we get like a little like breadcrumb dropped. And it just isn't like at all the focus of the second half. Like it's just more about this sort of grand conspiracy about who is this mystery man,
and getting
why are the
this fruit.
doctors so evil.
The two
think-
halves of JoJolion are the perfect indication of like the hallmarks of what makes a story enjoyable on a reread and what makes it unenjoyable. The first half, when you reread the story, you notice things that you weren't able to notice before because you didn't see the bigger picture. The second half, when you reread it, you notice things that don't make sense because you have the bigger picture.
I actually,
That is a perfect way of putting it.
not to bring it down even more, but going through the first half of JoJolion, there's a fair share of like silly shit. Like one thing that really leapt out to me was they established that Tsurugi dresses like a girl because it's like a family tradition. All the like eldest males do it, and then like two chapters later they show Narisuke at that exact
Yep.
age, and he's dressed male, and then like a bunch of chapters later Jobin at that age dressed male, and it's like, listen, I'm not like out here fucking like itching to see this shit, but Araki, you have set out a very simple rule, and you've broken it twice, and there's lots of little minutia like that where you're just like, man, couldn't you have like put a post-it note or something that said like that information or something like that? Like it is his job to write things at the end of the day. And like going through it, it feels like I sort of lose a sense of trust with the author when there's always just these little things where it's like, okay, I guess that didn't matter. Okay, I guess that was wrong. Okay, I guess rock humans, their biology is just totally different now. Okay, sure. Like I'm just along for the ride, and now I'm like being conditioned to not care about these things.
The
anymore.
weird thing is, I think Araki does have like notes based on continuity because, like, I don't know if it was like something. I remember looking at an interview at some point, and he had like volumes of JoJolion with like post-it sticking out of it, like notes on different
man.
aspects of the story.
Must be like a phone book.
Yeah, like it looked like it was well kept and like kind of like fleshed out in keeping track of everything that he needs to know. But like it just suddenly, like, I understand. Araki is the type of writer who likes to keep it fast and loose and just, like, go with whatever feels right in the moment, which is commendable. But when you're doing a mystery story, you have to have a long-term plan, and you have to commit to that long-term plan in some way, or else it's not going to be a satisfying reveal at the very end. Which is weird because, like, Steel Ball Run, it feels like everything was well-structured and thought out from the beginning. JoJolion, the first half, it feels like everything was structured and well thought out from the beginning. And then part 2 of JoJolion just shits the bed for some reason, and it comes out of nowhere.
Also,
like, everyone was expecting there to be payoffs throughout the whole time because we had no reason to think that there wouldn't be.
I thought there was going to be more chapters after Radio Gaga. I thought there was going to be like maybe another chapter like with the actual like conclusion to everything.
Some actual information in it.
Yes.
Going to what Grayfruit had said about like you lose trust in the author, I think that's like such a really valid point, because if you were to just say like be in the middle of like part 3, for example, your expectations of the story and the author are totally different than they are in part 8. Like as long as he can continue to give you like really fun stand battles, you don't really like, that's it. Like that's your trust is not going to be shaken until you hit like a really like lackluster arc like the Enya arc or whatever. But when your whole thing is a mystery,
watch your episode about
a mystery, you're going to hit these real like big crises of trust where you're like, well, everything has been like leaning on the evidence that you're giving us, and the evidence is like shaky and it has no foundation, so I can't really like trust you in the future to give me this, even though it was the first half of JoJolion did.
Yeah.
It's
just
like,
kind of depressing.
It's like you read through fucking, what's an example of a good story? I don't know any.
Shark Tale.
The Bible.
You read through the Bible, right? And at the end, it's just like, fucking Jesus like bowed Satan or whatever, and it just feels out of place because like
Jesus having a shonen battle with.
Because you're just like, what the fuck? Adam was like the main character, and it like Adam was the main character. Where's Adam? I keep asking the book where Adam is, and he's not showing back.
I'm asking where's Moses. He just disappeared, man.
Like when the story sets you out with certain expectations, it doesn't like. You don't need to be fine art in your every aspect of your story, but you need consistency, right? Like if a story is just like, it's like having like a gigantic torso and tiny legs, like it just doesn't look right. But if you have like the tiny torso, I don't know where I'm going with this analogy. I'm tired.
Yeah, what's happening?
Fortune's user with the giant arms and the scrawny body.
That's the JoJolion, but the arms are like the story of the first half.
And so JoJolion is just Wheel of Fortune. There we go. That's what we were trying to say.
What was his name? Jay Swiggy? I don't remember his name.
Ziggy Pop, I think.
I thought it was ZZ Top.
ZZ Top. Did I say Ziggy Top? Oh my god. I'm like conflating David Bowie and a bunch of shit.
One. I don't know which one sounds more ridiculous.
Apparently I'm on crack.
No, that's the US version of it, I'm sure.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh, I can't wait to see JoJolion translation names. We got a taste of them in Eyes Over Heaven or whatever that is. Yeah.
Eyes of Heaven, yeah.
Eggs Over Easy.
Maybe they can change Soft and Wet to something that has King in its name.
Nice. Can slap some.
They're gonna call it like Flaccid and Placid or something.
Flaccid and
Placid. They already have Flaccid Pancake. They can't use Flaccid again.
That's true. They aren't allowed to use the same word again.
I know this is sort of tangential, but speaking of the anime, do you think that they will attempt to sort of fix some things in JoJolion? Because like in part 5, they didn't really fix things in part 5. They just sort of like added a few extra La Squadra scenes and shit like that, like plot spackle.
I think they'll do that with Demo Group, and maybe those early hospital scenes you may catch in the background one of the rock doctors.
Yeah. You know what they might add? They might do something like when Kay dies, you get a like jump cut to Holly in her bed.
A single tear goes down her.
They might do something like that, like the Fugo thing. That seems like the type of thing they would do. But I don't think they'd add too much more outside of that.
Or would they cut out the Flashback Man? That would be the most baller move. If
Yeah,
they were
no,
just
they
like,
won't.
we're just
They
gonna
won't-
get rid of it.
They won't cut out
They're
the
gonna keep
Flashback
them.
Man, because if they cut out the Flashback Man, that means they have to cut out the flash forward and the countdown to harvest. And
I
then
hope
they
they
just start cutting things
Well,
out. And
Part
like,
four
where
had
do
it
you
was
end
100
with that?
chapters long.
Do you
So
cut out
part-
Toru because he sucks?
I said part 4 does the whole like last section of like standplays before the final one. They rearranged the
Yeah, they like
whole
mixed them together.
timeline. Yeah, and
What?
they could probably
They mixed
Oh
a
yeah,
couple
they did
arcs
do
in
that.
part 4.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
yeah
I
like
wonder.
Cheap Trick.
They mix them around for
Superfly.
like better pacing, because like the fact that Cinderella's user like just shows up again immediately before dying, it's kind of bullshit. Which they might do something with that with JoJolion, but I'm not sure what you can swap around without the structure like completely breaking and to make it better. Like you can't put Ozone Baby before Urban Gorilla or whatever. Like nothing can really get rearranged in JoJolion.
Oh, I did find some part with the Eyes of Heaven Part 8 stand names, couple of them. We got Nuts and Bolts,
Right.
Lame.
Flower Park.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
it's
didn't even
Flower
try.
Park? That's
That's
awful.
terrible.
Oh, this is my favorite, King of Nothingness.
That's horrible.
That's
hilarious.
the least offensive of them yet, I would say.
We have I, Rock.
What?
I Rock.
I rock.
Oh, no.
That's pretty good, actually. I like that one. I rock.
That sucks.
Trying to see if any.
He's just a
Nothing else on
narcissist.
here is really, really good. There's like they called it King Bed instead of California King Bed.
That's fine.
That's really
The
it.
best-
'Cause that's all
best
they only
part.
had up to like. I think they only had up to like Milagro Man, maybe.
And
I
those,
don't
I
know.
don't think they changed anything past Eyes of Heaven, so like that's what we're getting.
There hasn't been a game since.
Oh,
That sucks.
Flower Park.
What
Flower
about that
Park's
one
gonna make
game
me
that
sad.
JoJo and Dio were in? Whatever the fuck, Shonen, whatever.
All-Star
the
Battle?
Shonen
No,
J-
wait,
J-Stars?
Yeah.
Jump Force.
Jump Force.
That's the one.
Giorno's in there too.
Yeah,
really?
and
I
he
didn't know
looks
that.
like a Wojak.
terrible. He looks fucking
He
terrible.
looks like a Wojak.
What's
No,
it called?
sorry,
They have
Gold Experience Requiem
Requiem
does.
looks horrible.
I think I have a picture on my phone, but I'll put it in the chat.
It's one. There's a thing Sam and I do when we pick each other up because we hang out in real life because we're best friends IRL. Where when we arrive at each other's house, we send each other a text of an image to like let them know, let the other one know that we're here, and it's always just horrifying. Like
there
that
it
Gold
is.
Experience picture. If Sam can find it,
I found
I'll
it.
include it. Yep. It's
I
always
love
like
that one.
that, or it's like the old cartoon of Venom and like the Venom driving a truck. Like really good stuff.
Oh, good.
Quality.
His lips are so insane. We're just gonna talk about this image for a minute. Like the lips of Gold Experience here are so creepy.
Just
I hate
imagine
them.
He looks like
when
a turtle.
we can get a Part 8 version of this, of like Soft and
Ah.
Wet or like Paisley Park, just being incredibly detailed horribly.
No thanks. I'm
Gross.
fine.
Oh my god, imagine Speed King like that.
Oh, that would be. I would want to see that actually. It's like when those guys that do like the hyper realistic Pokemon, like
Yeah,
it's like the same kind of aesthetic.
like Detective Pikachu.
Yeah,
I'm
that guy. That's literal Nintendo hire this man. Like that guy got fucking hired because he did those images.
I just want to see when they make another like JoJo games. I can see this more like, the final Part 8 rep to see like what they can do with it. That's like I'm excited to see that.
Wonder of You. It's like didn't they make like
Wonder
a
of
One
You-
Punch Man
Wonder-
fighting game where you can
yeah.
play as like One Punch Man? Like that's gonna be
Well,
the Wonder of You.
Wonder of You- Wonder of You is a
God,
stage
Wonder
hazard.
Review is gonna be the worst shit to ever play against.
I've said this. I said Wonder Review is just a stage hazard. Nothing
Sam is
else.
the main villain. You can't
stage
make,
hazard.
him
Make
a stage
him a
villain
hate-
or stage hazard.
Damo is the main villain. What are you talking about?
Oh man, you have to use meter to Calamity.
I mean, in the One
That's
Punch Man game, there was a
bullshit.
mechanic in that game where you only had a 2v3, but if you survived long enough, Saitama would come in. Like you had to survive like 5 minutes in a match, which is a 2v3, and then Saitama could come in.
Yeah, but didn't that game suck?
Yes. Like most Cyber Connect games that aren't the Naruto ones, they suck.
Most anime fighters are like diarrhea dumps anyway.
Yeah, unless it's Arxis.
Yes.
True.
Maybe
Are we
hopefully
gonna
they can do
devolve
it.
into JoJo fighting game talk again?
No, we
This
It
always
always
happens.
happens.
that's a separate
haven't played 'em yet.
Brokakaka
We
where we
can't do
pitch a
that.
fighting game. We pitch a fighting game. That'll be a different episode.
All right, and my favorite JoJo fighting game is me fighting my urge to keep caring about Wonder of You.
I have to do the fighting
I'm
game
losing.
facts every time we do a part 3 episode. So.
All right, so
Basically.
let's go over everything. What haven't we bitched about yet?
We talked about Joe.
I'd like to bring up a very...
We actually didn't really talk about JoJo. Oh, yeah, sorry, what do you want to say?
I have something very important. I can't believe it took us so long to get around to this. The fuck is up with the rock dog, Iwasuke? What is his whole deal? He eats like
pure?
10 rokakakas over the course of the part, walks through a wall at one point.
Yes, he does.
Never mentioned again.
Iwasuke does nothing wrong. He is a pure dog. How dare you? This is
He was
slander.
foreshadowing.
I just want to
foreshadowing until
in
for
Ozone
Wonder
Baby,
Review.
he's like scrabbling at a door. I'm like, just walk through it, bitch. Like you can go through walls.
It was
forgot that
foreshadowed
he could
to
do-
Wonder Review, because Wonder Review could also walk through walls. We forgot about that, and that's also his powers.
Iwasuke
dog
is
is
actually Danny Phantom.
There is this one hilarious moment where it's a Jobin internal monologue where he's like, it's during the Ozone Baby fight and he's helping Tsurugi and he looks over and he notices Iwasuke like crawling to death into his like dog house. And Iwasuke's like, I guess the dog got away. It's like, why do you care? Why is there a line where Jobin's talking about the dog?
And they even
I just think it's really
say
funny.
there's like a throwaway line
Jobin
where
loves dogs.
he says like, I bet he turned into stone once he got into there. And I was
Yes.
like, they never established he can turn into stone. This is news to me. They're just saying it like it's a thing that we already know.
I mean, like, he's a rock dog. Rock humans can do that, whatever.
You figured
It's
like
not too
you
big
learn
of a
a
Is
jump.
he a
lot.
rock dog? Is that what he
I
is?
think,
Yeah.
yeah, they say
His
he's a
name
rock
is
animal
literally
early on.
Rocksuke.
And so when Yatsuyu Yagiyama was doing that shit where he like fed him a rokakaka and
What?
the dog got back up and was fine, the dog was just acting then. It just turned to stone of its own free will. It didn't have the rock disease. The fact
Wait, if
that
it
the
was a
rock
rock- if
disease
it-
is so similar to rock humans was confusing to me. I'm gonna
Yes.
sound like a
Wait,
dumbass, but it was
No,
confusing.
no, it's illegitimate.
Wait.
What the fuck is up with all the rock shit that's apparently
Wait,
not related at all?
Didn't we say also? Did you guys say the fruit doesn't affect the rock human? So if he's a rock dog, wouldn't the fruit not actually help him at all? Right?
No, the
That's
rock
why he was
humans
just
are
We actually don't
benefited.
know.
They benefit from it the most because, like, they're already made of silicon.
Okay.
So what's turning into silicon going to do to them?
Mhm.
Which is
Okay.
why, like, the whole thing with the Wasuke is why I thought that fucking the rock humans, by eating a rokakaka, they could get rid of their hibernation period, and that would end up being like, oh, that's how Kato survived in prison. She's a rock human. Yeah, fucking
Doremi
stupid
ate a
ass
fruit
shit.
next to a tank, and then they became one.
Yeah,
Can we,
Rocky.
did you guys actually like the whole guardrail stuff though?
No.
Like,
I didn't. Thanks
Okay.
for asking.
I'm curious because like it's like a hot topic. Cause, like it's like a really weird like I compare it to Rolling Stones, where I'm not like a huge fan of it, and it just seems tacked on for no reason.
I'm a
think it's
huge
weird.
Rolling Stone apologist, and I hated Radio Gaga. Like, I love the fuck out of Rolling Stone, and I was like, literally, what happened? Like, this was nothing.
You
Is
see,
this
I'm
gonna
kind of
get-
the opposite. I'm not that big a fan of Rolling Stone, but I did like Radio Gaga quite a bit.
Well, do
Like-
go on.
I just thought, like, Radio Gaga, first of all, the concept is interesting. It's kind of like the whole thing you get from the Spoke Rohan chapter, where it's kind of like
Yeah,
a
if you feel like
cryptid.
Yeah, it is
And-
a Rohan vibe.
And that whole thing is interesting to me, just like seeing stand bullshit appear in just like regular scenarios. I've always really liked that. And also, I don't think it overstays its welcome. It's just 2 chapters, not even 2 chapters, like a chapter and a half. And in that time, it kind of like gives us a better look into what happened to Lucy. And I like Lucy, and I like that we see her whole story. And it kind of fills out the Joestar family tree a lot better. And like that's not necessary, but I
It
do
really
feel
would.
it's like kind
Yeah.
of completionist. In a
We had to learn how
sense.
Jofume got his name.
Completionist run.
We had to learn why Jofume got his name. The mystery no one asked.
Yeah, I really.
Yeah.
And
The more I think
completely
about it, the less I
retcon
care
the
about.
birthmark at that point.
Like, it's cute. It's cute to see like a stand version of what's it called?
Well, it-
Hermit
Hermit
Purple.
Purple,
Or Hermit Purple.
Talking
Yeah, it's cool to see
corporeal
like a little.
form.
which
I,
I've
like
been.
seeing- I saw the reference. I clapped, but other than
In
that,
wrestling, we
like-
call that a cheap pop, where we just an easy way to get everybody excited about something.
Yeah, it
What,
was like
you
he was
don't like
hey,
Zawaldo?
I was gonna say, it's like he
That was
saw
wonderful,
how everybody
though.
reacted to the end of part 7, and he was like, "I'll just do it again. We'll put
Well,
Joseph in the
see-
clackers. Remember the clackers? They're here for literally no reason, but they're here."
There's
reference.
there's the Chad Diego with the world, and then there's the Virgin and Joe Fume with Hermit Purple.
Yeah, Hermit
Okay,
Purple is
one-
about as far as you can get in terms of hype from the world. To be fair,
Literally.
Yeah. And Diego's like design is way cooler than Joseph's design in there.
Do you think we
It's
can
also
predict
just like it feels so
the end of
perfect.
JoJo Lands based entirely off of what would cause the best fan reaction? Like, who's the most popular character in part 5 through 6?
it's just gonna be a total fucking nostalgic
it's-
asm.
Yeah.
It's gonna be about like Mista or no Bruno. It'll be about Bruno.
It's gonna be Bruno.
Yeah.
It's either gonna be Bruno or Giorno is finally gonna show up in Florida for some reason.
He finally made it.
Ultimate flashback to the previous universe. Giorno shows up. He's like, "Where is everybody?
What the fuck happened?
Why do they all have
Unrelated to,
different
like-
names."
Mista, Trish, we made it. Mista, Trish, where'd you go?
It would be really funny if like Gold Experience Requiem just like made Giorno unstuck in time, and now
It just
he's,
goes
like,
into George
God.
forced to
Joestar.
just
No, it
Do
just
you
goes
think-
into George
go to other
Joestar
realms?
at
Do you
this point.
think
Where
that? Do you think Araki would do it? Do you think Araki would give Josuke Star Platinum?
Dude, I wanted Holly to have Star Platinum, so
I feel like
I feel
so
like
the whole
that's
thing
the
with
kind
world,
of tier that we would get at the end somehow.
Yeah. The whole world reveal, I think it was so perfect because like it's like the world. It's like the most iconic thing.
and plus
to have it
D4C
show
was
up as like a
established
little
that it could
extra
do it.
bonus thing is just like so satisfying, and it's like it feels like we're seeing like the Diego character like fully realized, but like in a different time. I don't know.
And
just
it
like-
also
I'm just
gives
can't
you
really
a
do
good
it again.
conclusion to the Steel Ball Run race. Like, it
Yeah.
ties
Yeah.
everything together in a neat little bow, which I love. And it's also why I found the whole thing with originally King Crimson being Josuke's stand so compelling, because there's a reason for it to show up, and then like it gives you that pop off of the previous universe stand, and it also fits in with his character in a way. But you know how that turned out.
can't have nice things.
I'm really curious what they're gonna end up doing with the villain stands in JoJo Lands, because like
Will they
I
go with rock
don't
humans
know
again?
anymore if the fact that the villain stands were returning is actually like a theme, or if it was just a coincidence because the World and Killer Queen are very popular stands, or
Well-
Araki just wanted to reuse
Oh
them.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
It was
"What do you
always,
mean they have a pattern of returning?" I forgot about Killer Queen being in there.
Yeah, me too. And it's
Hey-
literally just lifted whole cloth. Like that is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
how Killer Queen
Design
looks,
and
like,
power-wise.
design-wise.
Pretty
The
much.
power is like a little like it's a little more involved.
He has
little
micro
bit.
sheer heart attacks. He
yeah.
can control. He has smart explosions because he blew up like 10 sheer heart attacks on Carrera's back, and it literally did nothing to her. It like singed
He
her
can
hair.
control the.
I
Yeah,
like
she-
that
she's
though.
fine.
He's less like I'll erase you from existence and more like, bitch, get the fuck back. I'm blowing this shit to heaven.
Destruction. He's like a video game, like open world. Like, I'm just gonna call it mass destruction. No one really gonna bat an eye.
Yeah.
I'm just a doctor from a
God,
ship
I
doctor,
love
you know.
Kira and JoJolion so much. He's so good.
Oh,
He's
he's
so
so fucking good.
He's so
We've said this
cool.
plenty of times where like I would take a spin-off manga of just Jofume and Kira adventures. Like
Just bullying Ojiro every day. Like,
Yes.
please.
You know that would turn sus though. Everybody ships the two of them, even though it's like inset. No, it's not.
Is
Actually,
it?
'cause
No, it's
Josephine is
not. We
related.
got pretty much confirmation that's not.
did you just skip on like the stepsister tag or the stepbrother tag?
Christ.
The step fusion tag.
the forbidden.
Step
The
fusion
whole
sounds like a
reason
whole
for
different
Radio
fetish.
Gaga to the whole reason for Radio Gaga to exist is just to justify the people who ship Josephine and
Look, it's
Kira.
not sus, guys.
Don't worry about
It's
it,
like-
guys.
There's like some Dr. Stone shit right there.
Oh my god.
Like the fucking author or the editor had to say like, yeah, even though these people are like related to the main character's dad, they're not. He's not
like-
actually related to his own dad.
He's adopted now. He's
It's
adopted now,
been like
everybody. Even though
10,000
he
years,
looks
so
like
that doesn't even matter at that point in Dr.
Yeah.
Stone.
Exactly.
so funny. Fucking Japan. but yeah,
But you
Radio
know
Gaga
what?
is just weird.
You know what? You know what JoJolion did well?
Starting my YouTube channel.
Our YouTube channel.
Our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
What? We're waiting. We're,
Let's
we're
go with
waiting.
that.
Oh my god! Oh, the silence is killing me. All right,
I couldn't
guess
actually
there's-
think
I
of
guess we'll
anything
never know.
JoJolion was doing well in that point.
Oh. I guess we'll...
JoJolion was pretty consistent, I would say, near the end. Like
it was
I mean,
consistent
it came out
in
every
its
month.
inconsistency.
Yeah, it came out every month.
Hey,
almost every
it
month.
gave us a lot. To,
No, it didn't.
it gave us a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it never fails.
No, I seriously enjoyed the ride.
Never fails to be batshit insane. That's what
Yeah.
I'll say with confidence, and that is
It's
very
about family.
entertaining, even if at the end it left a weird taste in my mouth.
That
Yeah.
one chapter when
worst
it
thing
went
a story
into
can do
Toru's
is be
birth
boring,
was
so-
incredible. Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing like that was such a huge feel. Like everyone was like the whole fan base was like,
I can't believe
freaking
Hermes
out.
is a rock human.
yes, yeah, getting the seeing Enya in part 8. Oh my god, I
And
paused.
Hermes.
No, you didn't.
I saw Enya. I saw Hermes. There was another one too, wasn't there?
Uh,
Dio-
Hermes
oh,
is
no, that
the
wasn't Dio, never mind.
Human. How long do you think we're gonna have to deal with that once the anime comes out? Do you think they're gonna include
Oh.
that? They are gonna include that in the anime. They have to.
Yeah, it'll be like a little pop. It's like how they do that little scene where like next to Giorno they showed every JoJo like the head.
Yeah.
They'll probably have it like
It'll
animated
be a
that way.
still
where
image
it,
of
like
a
one person at a time.
It'll be a still image, and then all the characters and famous people in history go moving behind them. Like,
What if they just rip straight footage from part 3? That would be pretty funny.
What if they,
they
just
just,
take
like,
a picture
just
of the
reuse
manga
some old-
panel?
A picture of Enya.
Yeah. Just a JPEG.
like Enya crying like JPEG, or like one of her like, weird gag moments with Polnareff. Where
That's
Polnareff's like
basically what it is.
Polnareff's like
man.
mocking her dead son.
That reminds me. I can't believe we never got a female rock human. What was up with that? What was the point of pointing
We have
that
unnamed
out?
rock. We have unnamed rock human female that left Toru. That was it.
Also, Yatsuyu Yagiyama, they never found his dick. You can't confirm.
He was
Dude,
the
that is
rock
something they
human
do
female.
mention.
Yep.
Number 14. Yoshiwa's dick. okay, for
I
chill.
really would love, like, I know that this is the whole point of JoJo is that it's like, okay, we just have a villain of the week, but I really do want to see more scenes with the rock human smugglers. I think that would be a really nice addition to the anime.
The Demo group is base, man. Like,
Except for the
I want
Apex
an
twins.
Aisho
They suck.
Dainenjiyama spin-off manga.
I enjoyed the Apex Twins getting CQC'd. It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, even though they were
I do
kind
wanna
of
see a-
characters.
They're
yeah,
just
no,
goons.
they're nothing. They're
little-
actually nothing.
They're literal Batman henchmen. They're just exist.
They are
exist so that
Batman
Carrera can have an
henchmen.
arc. They exist so Carrera can have like an arc focused on her, but it's
She
also
doesn't
like
even use her stand
still
on them.
fighting
She just lights them on fire.
it's hilarious. I love it. I love how much fire. There's so much lighting on fire.
She only
in
uses her
JoJolion.
stands for scams, not for like any fighting. It's really
Good.
funny.
That's bringing back the thing I love the most about Part 8, like people using their stands in weird ways. Give me more of it.
Yeah, I do like that whole, like, he kind of scaled it back. And in part 7 too, I feel like didn't like X-Force talk about this or something, how in part 6, and I agree wholeheartedly, in part 6 it was like, all right, this is cool, but this is also approaching the ape shit singularity, you know?
Yeah.
Where like it's almost getting too crazy. And then in part 7 it's like, okay, scale it back. Our main character can shoot his fucking fingernails off. Let's
He's like
move
Mista,
on
but
from
without
there,
shooting
you
himself
know?
as much.
Part 6 was like complexity for complexity's sake. Like, it wasn't interesting complexity. It was just like, this shit does weird, nonsensical shit that you need like a Wikipedia page to understand. Part 7 onwards was more like, hey, here's this interesting concept and an interesting way to utilize it, which I like.
Part 6, you have Bohemian Rhapsody that you need entire Wikipedia. Part 7, you have a man that can make himself into rope.
I always forget about Mountain Tim. Literally, that's all he does.
Poor Mountain.
I love him though. He's so good.
It's shafted.
It's like the funniest. Like, what do you got?
Even like the best part of part 7 with Ringo, like Ringo's whole stand is so simple, but the way that the whole like arc is built around that fight is so wonderful.
And then you look at part 6. I have rods, the mythical being of rods.
Oh, don't get me started with the fucking shit about the snails. Okay, wait, hold on. Actually, I do want to get started
Wait,
with the
can
snails.
we bitch about part 6 now?
Or is it part 6 airing your
No,
grievances?
part 6
I
is
don't like part
cool.
6.
We're gonna have that. We'll have you guys on again to bitch about part 6 like the night before it comes out.
We get
for
Shuck
the
on here too
SEO
for that.
optimization.
Don't
know, you
worry
Yeah, we
about
gotta
love
get
that.
part
I'm not
6.
reading part 6.
Oh no, I'm not reading that again. I'm just gonna bitch
We're
about my
just gonna
memories.
bitch about our like
Oh,
poor memory of it.
I don't like
That's
Jolie
great.
nearly
I
as
would
much as
love
everybody else does.
Imagine
but
how many
okay,
people
I do
want
want
to
to bitch. Like, the stupid snails thing just makes me mad. The whole resolution of the snails, like, oh no, you actually weren't a snail. You just thought that you were a snail, but you still had like
messaging.
snail superpowers.
But that wasn't the only person who had snail superpowers was JoJolion, right? And she can turn her
Yeah.
body into string. That's what I always saw that as, right?
You know
So
what?
She was.
She
Well,
subconsciously used stone free.
Raimamazuku can just become a bunch of chords
Yeah.
when he implodes. So like, who even questions this shit anymore?
And
Yeah.
then re-wrap himself up.
We're idiots for questioning this shit.
Yeah, truly, that is
Well,
the big lesson to be learned.
There's
Right,
something
is
wrong
that
with us for taking JoJolion seriously.
Don't even try, you know?
Yeah, I'll take vitamin C over Dragon's Dream, or like
I
anything.
take vitamin C
stupidly
over
for-
most of JoJo. What are you talking about?
I know, just people, just like trying to think, can't think of what's the most other than Wonder. I think Wonder Review over like most of Part 6 stuff. I think.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't go that far.
I can
Wonder
understand-
Review was really bad.
I
But
can think
Yo-Yo
of
Ma
Wonder
is so much better. Sam.
No,
Yo-Yo
Jim,
Ma's
fuck
so
about
much
Yo-Yo
better.
Ma.
Honestly,
never
I'd
ends.
take Yo-Yo Ma as the main villain
Thank
of
you.
JoJolion.
Yo-Yo Ma. Okay.
There are a couple that
Great
I would take
villain material.
take Wonder Review over. No, Jim, Wonder Review, shut up. Shut up about Yo-Yo Ma.
I do. I
fucking
back to your
corn
point-
man.
Back to your point about how we're fools for taking JoJolion seriously. I think that one scene when at the end of the Ozone Baby fight, when Rai appeared from like his eyeballs and mouth appeared out of his like big string body, and he starts talking to Josuke. I think that should have been the moment
no.
where we realized we were
My
barking up the wrong
favorite,
tree.
my favorite part is Jose crying to just the eyes of Mamazuku. It's like the funniest image.
Yeah, but that's regular JoJo bullshit. That's
Yeah.
not JoJolion bullshit.
It's so funny. Though.
Yeah, that's been around since the beginning, unfortunately. Honestly, I kind of love it at the same time. There's a weird love-hate thing with JoJo where it's like, it's so apeshit sometimes that it's like watching, I don't know, like really exotic fireworks go off or something. It's just like,
Yeah.
even if
That's
there's
why
no
I'm-
rhyme
This
or
is-
reason to parts of it, I
This
still like
moment
watching
with
it.
Raimamazuku being a bunch of string and eyeballs, that's what we call a big Stardust Crusader moment.
It really is. especially going through it, like right now, there's so many assholes, like the Jotaro catching on fire, and like just his coat like on fire in the air, and then like oh no, he was like underground the entire time. It's like the funniest thing. Or like Abdul surviving a bullet to the brain and only having slight brain damage.
You know, I know this is like sort of off topic, but something that I'd like to bring up before we finish that really stuck out to me. Daya's leg explodes at the
Don't worry.
beginning
What?
of the California King bed
Oh,
arc.
yeah.
There's one part where her leg is so fucked up that you can see the goddamn bone.
Don't worry about it.
Never
Yeah.
brought up again. What the fuck
A tier,
was
right?
that?
A tier, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
A tier.
thinking when they
But-
placed it so high. I was
Great.
like,
It's
what about her
sick,
leg?
yeah.
Such a good arc.
We love the California King Bed arc. I love that the conclusion is that the refrigerator has a light in it. That's the solution to the stand.
It's so funny.
I'll never
Yeah,
understand.
better than Dubiwa.
Don't forget the fucking gag
Yeah.
of like Naruto.
3 tiers
Narusuke,
above
like,
Dubiwa. Okay, yeah.
I was like, remember the Narusuke walking into like Josuke and Daya like they're about to do it.
He's so fucking mad. He's like
so
he's acting like
angry
he's being
and then
cucked
he
by his
chills out.
daughter or something.
Well, he also
What?
acts
Wait,
like...
what? Can you repeat that?
He wants to get with Josuke. Clearly, he loves Josuke.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Jim.
He acts
All right,
That's why you
I
ranked it at
understand
A.
completely
That's
completely
that's
now.
why Jim ranked it at A. Okay.
During the beginning, Norisuke acts so villain-like, and it's kind of shocking.
It's crazy.
He's like, I'm literally gonna kill Josuke after Daya makes him a slave in body and mind. And I'm like, he literally likes Josuke, as we learn later on. Like, what is this?
I mean, he nearly murdered him while he was driving, distracted. Like,
True.
I like
like-
that retcon. Wholesome Norisuke is the best.
Yeah,
yeah.
Ugh.
That's
I
a
love
good
that.
ass retcon right there.
but I
Man,
wish it
I'm
just
just- I'm-
wasn't a retcon.
I'm just imagining the Part 8 anime, like anime only's like reaction to this shit. It's gonna be so interesting to see.
Yeah, when Flashback Man shows up, people are gonna be like, "Oh man, I wonder what is this gonna lead to?" And we're all just gonna be like, "You sorry fools, making the same
first-
mistakes we did."
I'm excited for them to go through Part
Hey,
6.
I'm
and
gonna
see,
be out
like,
there hyping
some-
people up for Flashback Man.
Oh my
that's so
god.
evil. And then the anime actually puts him in.
Oh
And then
my
we all
god,
have
that'd be
egg on our
amazing.
face.
Oh my god, so good. Or they put the flash forward in there and like actually like keep it accurate.
You know, when I was here and we did the talk with Permello, and that was like what chapter 108 we did it around, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
It was near the very
before
end, yeah.
the announcement that JoJolion was ending in 2 chapters.
Yeah.
Fucking the amount of shit that we said, even at that point, 2 chapters before the end, has just like aged so poorly. And I'm just thinking at this point, what are we saying now that's going to age poorly once JoJolion is out? Because like
I really
maybe
hope
some of this shit will be like better in hindsight when JoJolion is out. Like I don't care right now because it's self-contained story, so fuck it. I don't care what the future people think. But you know, like I can only imagine.
I mean, like up until the JoJolion, we haven't really had that kind of mindset of a part being like improved upon before or after. Like,
because it's definitely happened
they're always
in the past.
so self-contained.
or getting
Yeah,
worse
self-contained.
in
Like, I think one thing that I would point to is like Jotaro's character. I think is one that like just grew exponentially. Like every time he was included. Like
yeah,
maybe not actually every time, but like
well,
his
part
character
4
in
at
part
least.
4 is such like a. It's so great to see it like paired with his part 3 character.
Yeah,
Right.
agreed.
He's a character
But then
that
a character like
ends up growing the most in the story, and only because he grows outside of his main part.
whereas like Joseph basically like just devolves as time goes on. Like
Yeah, he
He
evolves
literally
in a
has, like, a
really
reverse of
cool
that.
way, and that's great.
yeah, I love Joseph.
I-
Joseph is like
Joseph's
such a
great.
wonderful character.
When he was a
I mean,
kid in that airplane accident, he was at the peak
Which
of his
time?
fucking ability. And then he
You gotta
just
be more
became a
descriptive
little
than that.
gremlin over time.
He cheated on his
Honestly,
wife and
mood.
then. But like, I just say like the people who have like the negative version of that is like I guess the people that don't like the part 6 ending, which there are people.
Oh,
Yeah,
with
but
like
they're
the creation
wrong.
of the universe and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that ending.
That's
so
that's
much.
like my
It's
favorite thing
wonderful.
about part 6. Is
What a Wonderful World is the best part of part 6.
They better use
Well,
the goddamn
after Yo-Yo
song
Ma.
in the anime.
So-
I swear to God.
I'm not
Aw,
sure.
As ED,
Can we talk about
I
that? How are they
will
gonna-
shed a tear?
How are they gonna do the Wonder of You in JoJolion? What are they gonna do with that? I would like
Every
it if
time
they
I-
just cut it out completely, because that would actually make Jobin's
Oh,
death
yeah.
make sense.
Or just anytime a credit appears like pursuing, it just cuts it. It just gets hit by something else, knocks it off the screen. I don't know.
Are they gonna have royalty-free version of the Wonder of You like they did with Pussy Control?
Maybe.
Or crazy.
Oh,
it was
that'd be
crazy.
really
It
freaky.
had Crazy Train and Wonder.
Oh yeah, Crazy Train too. That's right. It's
But-
funny, yeah, because there's never
Well,
any
Crazy
like
Train,
diegetic music
you don't even
in JoJo,
need to like
right?
play Crazy Train. You just need to show it on the screen and then like transition to the headphone sound once Wonder of You comes up. But like, I
been-
don't think that they would be able to get the Wonder of You, considering that the stand is named the Wonder of You, and there's so much licensing shit that would probably
Yeah,
be
Elvis
complicated
stuff.
by the fact that they're already using the name of the song when they shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
There's
Like,
been
imagine
diegetic
trying to
music
get the
in
No,
rights for that.
Has there in the anime? Has there been diegetic like actual
my
real
God.
life
No,
music?
no.
from
In the manga though.
It's
There's
probably
only
because
been-
What's it called? Cantoni, whatever the fuck Naranjo plays, that's supposed to be basically Pussy Control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Wondering of You. It's gonna be the U.S. version, I bet. Or
Wondering
Wondering
of
of
you.
You.
That's fine.
judging by the other Part 8 stuff, they're not gonna try very hard.
Yeah. Part 8 gets the shaft literally everywhere. Which at this point I'm not sure if it's
True.
deserved or not.
We'll find out. But
But yeah,
We will
so
see.
I don't know if I really have any other like.
we
major
still didn't talk much
gripes.
about Job in the
Alright, let's go
Oh, I
over...
guess we do need to Jobin, right?
Can we all just like weep for a little bit? Should we just get like a group crying session going on about Jobin? Yeah.
He was such a good character, but he had to go because Toru needed to be the worst character.
He needed more. He needed more for his kill count.
Yeah, they just have so many characters job to Toru, but it doesn't even feel like to have like a character job out. Like it should
None of the
make
deaths feel.
it should make the villain feel like stronger, or the villain should do
It
something that
doesn't.
is surprising to kill the character.
None
but
of the
it's not. It just
yeah.
feels like Jobin He just did the thing that we know he shouldn't have done, but he just did anyway.
All right,
all the
dies.
Toru kills don't feel satisfying or like
Exactly.
impact to him. Like as a reader, I just feel more angry than I've been like, this is not deserving of the character.
Especially
agree.
Mamazuku's is the only one that maybe because he has like a little arc during it, but
but
that's
they literally
a stretch.
threw that in the
I
last
agree
second,
with
though.
the fact that Toru's kills, like, they all feel completely flaccid and like they don't actually have any impact to them. But at the same time, I do wonder how you could actually remedy that, because I feel like those kills were necessary for Calamity to actually like function as the ability it's meant to be.
have
I
them do
don't know
stuff before they
how.
die.
Well, half
Well,
the
yeah,
don't
obviously.
Have K in the part.
Not maybe don't drop Kato for 40 chapters or K for
Yes.
40 chapters, or Ojiro's fine. You can drop
Yeah.
him for that long.
Give
But
Jobin a
the
good
other
final
ones, like,
encounter
that doesn't make
isn't
sense.
Killing the surfer guy, like, bruh.
Ojiro stuff was great though. Like,
It was
Ojiro was
great.
great. Ojiro
It was a
against is
great
like the
setup.
pinnacle of the Wonder Review.
It just like Ojiro stuff was good, but that was the Jobin stuff. But then you have like the Jobin had all this build up, and then just to be like cut away like that, the rug pulled under him.
It literally felt like a death fake out. Like you
Yes.
guys were talking about, everybody was convinced, oh, he's absolutely not dead. It's JoJo. A bunch of blood came out of him. He'll be fucking fine. He'll
I
take
always
an
said-
He'll
Ambien and he'll be
cauterize
okay.
his own wound.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna wait till I see a ghost, and then I'll believe it.
Yeah.
We didn't see any ghosts.
Yeah, I don't think
We
that
didn't
happened
see
in
any
this part.
ghosts in JoJolion.
Because no
We
one
only
cared about any of
heard
the
them
characters that
through
died.
Raimon
Apparently,
Zuku.
anybody that cared about any of the characters is like dead or they just forgot about him.
We didn't get
Like-
Josuke looking into the sky forlorn as Kira and Josefumi faded away. That sucks.
That's what I didn't like about the what's it called, Radio Gaga. Where you only had half a chapter of the modern day resolution, where I feel like they should have had like an entire like chapter with it instead
Why
of like.
is the Wonder Review so long, but it feels so rushed? That doesn't. How does that work?
the stand itself is like changing how the real world feels and works.
The flow of calamities in us now.
How,
It's the
how
first
does
time
it, like,
fiction's ever translated out of the page.
How does it feel so slow and yet so rushed at the same time?
Thanks,
How do you do
coronavirus.
that? Is it COVID?
Thanks,
I don't
for-
think it is.
Yeah, I don't
Thanks,
know.
Toru. But like, it just like it just characters got killed so quick, or Jobin who got quick after so much build up, and it's just like
It sucks
utter
because Jobin
despair.
was like the most interesting part of
yes.
JoJolion's like antagonist force.
We were waiting for the actual like encounter, actual stand battle that wasn't Beetle Tendency, because like at the end of Beetle Tendency, him like literally like using his stand on Josuke was like one of the most like intense moments.
Yeah, where he's like,
So
wipe
much-
your goddamn nose, Josuke. Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, it's so good.
Everyone
Also,
who has a
so
good
consistent.
everyone who has a good foil with Josuke as a character, a good interesting like interaction and dynamic with Josuke, doesn't actually get to fight Josuke. He doesn't get it with Kato, who he like is a perfect mirror for. He doesn't get it with Jobin, who he has like conflicting ideologies with. Like he gets it with Toru. And they're
just
a
a
foil
guy that
because
was
Toru is a
there.
rock human, like literally every other rock human.
It's like it's like, weird because like the words he has to the head after are was Toru, but like it doesn't feel like
Like
I don't feel like he talked to Toru.
I guess Toru has all the shit with like memories and dreams,
No, he
but that's
doesn't-
so poorly like delivered that it doesn't even feel like a foil. It just feels like a last minute statement.
I don't
It's
think
like a non
Josuke. Wait,
sequitur.
I don't think Josuke knows Toru's the user until he actually gets to the estate.
He
I
only
think, right?
no, he only knows because Yasuho tells him by the phone when
Yeah.
Kei brings the phone
Okay.
to him.
But he doesn't like bring
He
it
doesn't
up at all.
know it
because he-
before it. They have no interactions besides the one at the very beginning with the hospital, which like that would be fine if it actually felt like there was like something interesting to
The center of the
replace
conflict
that.
with
but-
Yasuho. The
yeah,
center of the
it would
conflict
have
was
had
Yasuho
to
or something,
be
yeah.
an interesting like dynamic with Yasuho. But Toru and Yasuho don't have an interesting dynamic for people who supposedly dated. Like, I don't buy that. It doesn't
'Cause
feel
I-
like Toru's the
it
type
always-
of person that Yasuho would date.
It always felt like Toru was like an arc of like a villain of the week arc of like a 4 to 5 chapter or something. Not like Wonder Review, because I feel like he would a different comic for something entirely different than what they're going through like during this arc.
I don't know.
Like It's weird.
Jobin should have been Jobin. Should have been Jobin.
Our
that's all
boy
I
got
gotta
done
say.
dirty.
Just like thinking of how it would have been. I'm just repeating myself at this point, but it would have been so hype to just see a cool, a proper Josuke versus Jobin fight, especially since we were kind of teased it. Like
I think one of my early
even
predictions was
kind
like
of.
prelude to it.
my early prediction was like the final battle was going to be like all the factions kind of pining for the fruit of like them kind of like all coming to head with each other, with like Josuke's group and like Jobin's group and like whoever that the Rock Humans are left group. Like would have been more interesting to have them all together instead of just getting jobbed out by the one thing.
We have it for like one moment during the Ozone Baby fight, and then we
Yes.
don't really get that anymore.
Because I think that's what made this prediction. Because it felt like okay, this is all going to come to head at the estate right now, but they just kind of like ran away.
You know what the worst part about that is? The absolute thing that like destroys me the most, which I was so banking on for like most of my like predictions for the future of JoJolion. It's the fact that it's the number of rokakaka thing. The fact that we at the end we got to the point where there was only one rokakaka for people to fight over, and the whole like intrigue of that, which is hey, Tsurugi needs the rokakaka and Holly needs the rokakaka. How do you resolve this? They can't both have it, so you have opposing forces. That doesn't matter anymore because Toru is the one who eats it. So it has to go to Tsurugi.
Yasuho eats one too? Like
Yeah, but like Yasuho, it's fine with Yasuho because like that just brings it down to one last rokakaka, which allows you to play out the events.
you think that'd be a point of interest.
It's hard to blame her for what she does. Like it's perfectly
but she got-
reasonable.
It's great. I think it's a great moment.
She
Yeah.
had it rough for like 6 months.
It's the only part of that chapter that's not frustrating. What the fuck, Joshu?
Oh my god. Yeah, fuck Joshu.
I wonder if we'll see
Everybody's a bit-
Joshu in JoJo Lands, and he'll be like totally used to having the little baby arm.
Tiny.
I want him to
Baby.
be
Dude.
fucking like
No.
rad as
can-
hell in JoJo Lands.
I
want
know.
him to be buff as shit.
The
See,
100-page
I-
nut.
I-
Make it happen.
I hope so. They better. My one prediction that I want them. He can like probably use a stand to give himself another arm from some other asshole. Like I assume he could use a stand on
Yeah,
that.
but he's
Goes
not
back
Or he
going
could
to.
just use a
because
prosthetic.
that's
Takes it from one of those
like-
assholes.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if he had like a prosthetic. That'd be very like Joseph Joestar of him.
Oh, that
Yeah.
reminds me. I'm so sad that like Araki eventually ditched the eye cover on Josuke. That's such a
I know.
great
Yeah.
little design detail. And I
that
thought
would've
at the
been cool.
time that he did it, it was because it was hard to like show expression on Josuke's face, and he just didn't want to deal with it anymore. But this is the end of the story. Like, couldn't you make it last at least the full like 110?
Josuke's not even present for a lot of those chapters too.
Also, he just doesn't have equivalent exchange, right? Like Josuke just has the heal without the exchange. Like, is that what I'm supposed to be taking from that?
No, he
Yeah.
just breaks the piece off in the hot
So
tub.
so it was the most useless equivalent exchange, I guess. That he
Yeah.
Yeah, like he doesn't get like long-term damage from it besides some
Just
brain
peeled it
damage
off.
clearly as he attempts to
If
fight
I were to
Wonder of
equivalent
You
exchange, I would
without a
equivalent
plan.
exchange my. I would just equivalent exchange like a tiny fleck of my skin. Oh, there we go. I win. Like,
Well, you don't get
Wow.
to choose
Yeah,
you just like luck out because the plot demands it.
Oh,
Yeah, it
I'll
made me
tell you what.
salty.
It took his appendix. That's why he's
oh,
fine.
there we go.
He just
All
shot out
four
his
of his-
appendix at one point.
He has like multiple appendixes and like because he shares his bot. I don't know.
Would have been really
Jobin
interesting
had
story if he
to
had two of
had to
everything.
shave his eyebrow. Now equivalent exchange. Josuke's not able to use his eyebrow for a bit.
It was a payoff because Jobin wanted to lick Josuke's eye, and it was all.
And it goes into his eye. Actually, that works. That's kind of
God.
great.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. George
Oh my
Lucas
God.
wrote JoJolion.
Well, there we go. I'm sad about Jobin. I will never not be sad about Jobin.
Just
But
like
I
you'll never
guess I have to
forgive.
accept it.
Yeah.
You'll never forgive
No,
the
you
Japanese.
don't. You just gotta bitch about it until the end of time.
Yeah, wait, what do they say the stages of grief? If I just never leave denial, can I just stay
That's
I'll
the
just never leave
ultimate
the
denial.
first
Hey, that's what
Denying
I
the
do.
Other phases of grief. Oh my god, it's a big
That's
brain
my
move.
favorite stage of grief.
stage. It's like-
They just
It is the most
five,
satisfying
five stages, Jim. Grief.com. Here we go.
All
But,
right,
yeah,
so what have we
so-
not bitched about? let's go
I think
over.
we covered a lot of good ground. I think
Jim-
I'm about done, honestly.
Yeah, all right.
Jim's
Yeah, I
denial
don't
is
think I have
for
We
anything
bitched
else.
about the wall eyes. We never bitched about the Flashback Man. Is that just because you guys don't want to?
There's
I have
literally
a lot
nothing.
to say
There's
about
literally
it.
nothing.
I have a lot to say about Flashback Man. I don't know about you guys.
What?
I have one
What could you
thing.
possibly have to say?
All right, so
Sorry, go
Flashback
on.
Man.
Stage is yours.
All right, Flashback Man. Flashback Man is the main reason that Josuke believes that he has memories, which is his main character motivation for 80% of the story. So the fact that there's no actual resolution to Flashback Man at the very end of the story means his arc doesn't make any fucking sense, because he is eventually like, yeah, those memories don't exist, when he has clear proof that they do and never resolved that. Anyway, that's my
Counterpoint,
rant.
Flashback Man is Damo,
No.
and he was remembering one of Kira's memories.
Shut the fuck
Joke.
up.
Then when he met Damo, why didn't he go, "Oh, that's the guy from my one memory ever"?
Yeah.
You know? Whenever people
Kind
are
of
like, "Oh, it's early
important.
Jobin" or "It's early Damo," I'm like, why didn't he go, "Oh my god," when he
Oh
saw
my
those
god,
characters?
he cut his hair.
Yeah. And also,
Gain some weight.
I would just like to mention that Josuke has forgotten about the Flashback Man by Born This Way. There's like a part, and this might be a translation error or something, or just a difference, but Kay asks him at one point that she's like, "Do you have any memories of your previous life?" And he's like, "Nope, not one, not a single
Like
memory."
dial-up
And I'm
sound
like,
effects.
bruh. You know?
I mean, he also forgets
It
about
was
her
dropped
for
at
like.
that point, and who fucking even knows what was the original motivation for it?
I just wish couldn't he say, have there been interviews? How have the Japanese reacted to JoJolion? Has there been outcry of what the fuck was that? Tell us who the Flashback Man was. Or has anybody asked him in an
don't-
interview?
I don't think anyone delves into this much. Maybe they
Nobody
do.
in Japan cares as much as us fucking dorks over here do.
They're not as
Listen
terminally
to
online.
me.
Right now,
Talking about
the Iraqi
Flashback
inter-
Man.
all
They
the
don't
Iraqi
even
interviews are on
read
part 6
JoJolion
right
over
now.
there.
So
It's all about part 3.
no, they're on part. They're on the part 6 drug right now. Of all the interviews and all the press stuff is all about part 6. And so Rocky, what do you love about Jolene?
I just had a horrible thought. I don't know if you're aware of Red Letter Media got noticed by William Shatner, and William Shatner immediately so the backstory is that one of the guys from Red Letter Media loves William Shatner because of Star Trek, and William Shatner saw that they do a parody show called The Nerd Crew, and immediately hated them and was like, "Oh, these guys suck." So
my
Red Letter Media had to deal with the fact that William Shatner is being mean to them online.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's gonna happen with us with Iraqi. Rocky's gonna find
draw
this
us-
moment.
He's gonna draw
of
us
this
as
or this,
civilian gremlins
podcast.
of this who just get destroyed by a stand because he hates us so much.
Yeah, he's gonna listen to us bitching about the Flashback Man. How it makes no sense. He'd be like, "Well, I'm just gonna shit on these two
They're gonna
guys."
they're gonna
So
kill,
for
killed off by one
preservation-
review.
I love you, Iraqi. You're my
Like I
favorite
said- like I said,
mangaka.
When he starts JoJoland with somehow somebody
I
Toru
think
had
it was
returned,
really
he's gonna
cool
kill
how
us all.
you wrote JoJolion and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Keep it up. Keep up writing JoJolion, please. Don't stop.
I
writing
like Steel
JoJolion,
Ball
'cause
Run.
It's not over.
That was a
You
good
are
one.
Good luck with everything else, but yeah.
I'm excited for
So-
JoJo Lands.
I am too. I'm. It's funny not
Same.
having the JoJo happening for a while. There's been since we're at a point where there's no anime or manga. There's been no JoJo, and it's been interesting. Honestly, it's been a relief personally.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for
Oh
it to come back.
I'm trying to get my full JoJolion critique thing, and I just hope I can get it done before JoJo Lands is out, but the first chapter. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
It's gonna be 10 hours, like the action button review is,
Oh
right?
God! Don't
For
even
Cyberpunk.
don't even jinx it like that. I have no idea how long it's gonna be.
Well, we did Sam and I had enough to talk about for 5 hours. So geez, I
Yeah,
mean,
but I
there's
have
a
to
lot unpack
script
with
that
JoJolion.
shit. I can't just hit play.
You can't just go bumble through it like we did.
We're
those
at
JoJo
2
fans
hours
lead
at this
anything.
point, and I haven't thought once.
Oh, I guess what do you want to do for the question for people who made it this far, 2 hours in?
Who hates JoJo the most out of the four of us? Which one of us hates JoJolion the most?
I hate it.
I feel like I have an
hate you,
answer.
Iraqi. I hate you.
How will Rocky kill us all for hating us for not liking airing our grievances for JoJolion?
My opinion on
review, obviously.
JoJolion entirely depends on my mood at any given point in the day.
It's funny because we were recording our Brokakaka. I always get so annoyed hearing the word calamity and wonder if you. But,
that word is ruined for me forever.
It really is.
Yeah.
Or, when I hear something like the flow of calamity, I just roll my eyes.
You start hearing the Kill Bill music. And you start seeing
when the world devolves into chaos within the distant future of next year, and everyone is just calling it a calamity, I'm just gonna laugh and be like, hey, JoJo reference.
It's funny. It's funny when those things, anything just affect you to hate a word when you just hear it.
like Ligma.
Oh god.
No,
Ligma.
this is very specific, but so I played growing up in a lot of Animal Crossing, and catching sea basses is the most terrible, tedious thing because they're so common. And so we were at a restaurant, they had a lunch special sea bass on the menu. I loudly scoffed at it, and then my dad just looked at me like I was crazy. Why'd you just? What's wrong? I'm oh, nothing. So I saw the word sea bass. I was actively angry.
I feel that way about rocks now too. Every time I look at a rock, I just think of Toru.
And I think of a
Can't
Rocky.
go outside anymore. There's too many rocks.
Wait,
when you
rocks? Rocky?
Yep. It's
when you see a
propaganda.
garage knife, you just get angry.
I think we just busted this whole case wide open. It's rock propaganda.
Rockaganda.
Hey, that's my job.
Gotcha. Yeah. So JoJolion, I'm really struggling to think of any other things that I was really mad about.
I'm glad we had a
Okay.
nice little we had our JoJolion Anonymous of airing our grievances, but
All right, let's go back over the list once more. We bitched about the walleyes. We bitched about the Flashback Man. We bitched about California King Bed being an A tier. We bitched about.
in hindsight, I think it'd be in B now, but Jim can still have it in A.
I think it would be a high S tier actually.
in hindsight, I think it's in B. But...
B for bed.
Honestly,
I
I could
think-
bitch about Kei Nijimura a lot more, but I don't think we want to do that.
We're all thinking it.
Yeah, we all know why.
We'll have a part 2.
We don't need to explain it.
Electric Boogaloo.
In 10 years, we'll have a part 2 where, as the JoJolion animes
The JoJoland
Oh,
airing
God.
your grievances.
Yeah, we'll have a whole new host of things to care about then.
Let's see.
There'll
Do
be
we
a new
bitch
host.
about? Yeah, we bitched about Yotsuyu probably. Bitched about Aisho being in D tier. Bitched.
I don't know why Jim didn't talk about Dolomite.
Oh, Dolomite.
What are you talking about? There's
I don't
nothing wrong with that arc.
Yeah, I just want
I
to
just
talk
think
about. I
that's,
just love the flashback scene of his girlfriend wandering off. It's so hilarious when you think
really
about it.
funny.
The implication of his girlfriend being is she blind? Is she
No, I think he
people-
accidentally
is she just-
uses his ability on her.
Yeah,
No.
that was Blue
No, I
Hawaii.
don't- okay.
That doesn't make sense.
I talked to
though,
Jim
'cause
about
he
this.
controls where you go.
Yeah,
You
nothing
control-
but he
makes
just-
sense. It's JoJolion.
See, his verbal commands don't work. She doesn't go through the fence. She literally just hops over it.
Yeah, no,
And
it
then
doesn't make
and-
any sense, so it works.
No.
Maybe it's like a muscle spasm or some shit.
I really think that she's literally just dumb.
She's
I
just
think-
dense as fuck. But then after
Why do
he
you
gets
want to hear
burned,
that
she just
way?
walks away. That's what kind of kills the
know.
Blue Hawaii theory for me. Is she
Yeah,
just
but he
literally
loses
goes
all his
by,
limbs.
bitch.
Maybe she's under
Yeah.
control of Blue Hawaii her entire
There could
time
have
she's
been
there.
a throwaway line where Dr. Wu was like, "Oh yeah, then I controlled Dolomite's girl because he's getting too close to her, so I made her wander away to go."
Oh god.
That'd be really funny if they're just all the Rocky humans are pulling pranks on each other, just being
cucking
really
each other.
petty bitches.
They're just cucking each other.
Yeah, that's kind of what they do.
Pretty much. They if he
Haha,
breathes,
poor
he's a
Tom, I
thought.
stole your tie. Haha, I stole your lungs.
And that's why poor Tom draws his tie on from now on because it got stolen too many times.
God.
Now he just draws it on with marker.
Poor Tom has such a fucking crazy personality. I love him, but
Yeah, things I don't hate about JoJolion. Poor Tom being a pussy magnet is funny.
That's so great.
Also, all joking aside, Ozone Baby's one of the best arcs. I would say that's maybe
I don't
right
get the
behind
hype.
Vitamin C
I
for
really
me.
don't. It's
Well,
okay,
I'm middle.
but I'm not
Not all
sure
of us
it's
can have
the
high
best.
intellect. I mean,
I think
Yeah,
I
true. I'm
was
pretty
like-
dumb.
the multi-layered bubble things are hilarious. I love that.
yeah.
That is really wonderful.
Everybody thought it was fucking Rai's eyeball too.
That was like when reading monthly was like the most fun because like I was legit like screaming like what's in the fucking eyeball?
Jim, it could have been like SpongeBob where like the bubbles pop and they just have like dialogue in it.
That
happens in JoJolion.
That was the kind
that
of
happens in the Yasuho arc.
Yeah.
I forgot it does.
Yeah.
That
I
was
forgot he speaks underwater through bubbles.
It's literally a SpongeBob joke, is what it is.
It is.
I mean, Cappy is literally just SpongeBob, so
He is.
Yeah,
he's got
the
the
gap
buddy.
tooth.
he's got the tooth, he's got the suit, he's
Yashuo's
got the
package
hat,
is the pink motif.
he's got the bubbles,
He's got the balls.
He's semi-aquatic.
He's got the balls.
SpongeBob,
He has the
It's in my blood, it's in my
SpongeBob's
balls.
famous 4 balls.
Everybody knows about that.
Reproduced by Buddy.
he has a funny friend that's obsessed with money. They both have a funny money obsessed friend.
Who's this? Is Mamazuku Squidward?
They both have daddy issues.
They both have
Mamazuku is
pink,
Squidward.
Mamazuki Squidward.
They both have
Yeah,
pink
Mamazuku's
sidekicks.
I'm just thinking of Plankton as Toru.
Oh my god, I want to see
That works.
I demand
so well.
art. I demand art of Plankton dressed as Toru. I demand
And then like
Toru
Norisuke,
and his
Mr.
computer-
Krabs or something.
Yeah, that works too. Oh man, that's a pretty,
Kato is
that
Mrs.
was
Puff.
Bad. That's a pretty good comparison.
Kato just be Mrs. Puff. It'd be good.
She's
Oh
thick.
my God.
Kato
This has
can't be Miss
devolved
Puff.
into
Mrs.
SpongeBob discourse. We should
Kato
get back
can't-
on track.
What's back on track again?
This is trash.
How is that?
I think weren't we wrapping it up?
The
We were
tangent
doing
is the
our
point.
concluding remarks.
Yeah, I think let's transition into like conclusion remarks. Like I'll go first. I love JoJolion. I think it's great. I really don't see any major issues with it. If I could change anything with it, I would not change anything.
What? That's not true. I know
Okay.
you're lying to me. I see you're hanging doubt right now.
No, I mean I really do. I think I've made my thoughts pretty clear. Like I really love the first half. I think it's almost infallible. There's a couple little gripes here and there, but some of the issues with like just the final arc, they just like compound to be something that really harms my enjoyment of the series or of the part rather.
Yeah. I kind of have the same mindset.
Yeah, agreed.
Grayfruit, go.
Uh,
Did you have one to go?
I mean, yeah, basically the same thing. It is, I don't know. As much as I like to complain about it, it is, it's also a little fun to complain, and it's fun to like nitpick and sort of pick something apart like this. But at the same time, yeah, I do kind of feel like going forward in JoJo, I am not going to be I'm not going to be like engaging quite as critically with it as I was before, because like I just feel like if there's ever anything that's like hinting at some future like mystery or something, I'm just like, well, there's like a 50% chance that it's just nothing, you know?
It almost feels like we've been duped, like into like I mentioned this before, but like the idea of JoJo being like something that's meticulously plotted is like very new, and it's funny that like we even have that expectation now. So
totally.
it's kind of like Araki just set our expectations where they belong. Like no. We're sit back down. Like this is what JoJo
Just
is.
enjoy
That's
the ape
very
shit.
sad.
Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully the series only has an upward turn though. Like up until JoJolion's ending, literally up until like the last couple of chapters, I was like, every part of JoJo just gets better than the last, in my opinion. But in those
our
last,
pitching was basically Wonder Review and Toru, so it kind of show you something.
but in those last couple of chapters, I was like, oh god, he's not gonna wrap everything up, is he? And there was like a horrible sinking feeling in my stomach, you know. But yeah, maybe we all needed a bit of a reality check there. So maybe that's a good thing.
That sinking feeling has lasted for the past year for me.
Like we have all invested so much, into JoJolion, reading it, going through it entirely. We're gonna feel a little bummed when certain things don't go the way we wanted them to.
Yeah.
And like everybody has their own opinion. There are people who fucking love Toru Wonder Review, so they're allowed to have that opinion.
Slack-jawed, beady-eyed JoJo brownies. Yes.
I just had to deal
It's also
I just had to deal with the fact that from now on, my entire existence on the internet began with the fact that I made JoJolion theories that were
Now you just need to
hilarious
make
in
even
hindsight.
crazier theories for JoJo lands, dude.
you're
Double
literally
down.
the Icarus. You like thought that you could transcend JoJo too, but no.
I
you
don't
just
even
get,
care
like...
about being wrong. I just care about the fact that fucking there was no answer.
Yeah.
That's
Jim,
the worst part about it. I could have dealt with being wrong, but like the fact that I put so much stock into the fact that these things would be resolved, that's the part that hurts the most.
Sad.
Jim, I put this challenge in when we did our live stream for the tier list, but like we'll know they'll send for part 8 JoJo Tuber when like they'll make a video why the Apex Twins were like the best villains in JoJolion, and that's how I know they'll.
The endings, the final form of a JoJolion YouTuber.
Yeah, the person who doesn't make a non-April Fool's video about why the Apex Twins are like actually peak JoJolion.
I do want to say though another thing. Like obviously, I have a strong connection to JoJolion as well as Sam. I'm sure because this is like basically how we got any sort of audience online. It's because like people came to listen to our silly little podcast about JoJolion. So to me, JoJolion will always occupy like an elevated place in my heart just because I feel so connected to it. I'm sure a lot of the Western fans do.
Yeah, I feel the same way,
but...
unfortunately.
It's our cross to bear, Aeon. It's our cross to bear.
Yeah. It's a love-hate relationship we have.
I still do look at pictures of Josuke and I do get a little bit of serotonin when I do. So that's all. If that's the worst case scenario, then I guess I can't be too mad.
Nice.
I look at Kato sometimes and all I see is a blank face.
I look at Kato and
dead
I
eyes
see red
staring back at me.
I see Mitsuba in my icy heart, so.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Sam? I think you're the one that didn't really go on like a final conclusion.
I thought I did. I kind of just lost, but I have to say the same thing. Like, I kind of just love and hate. I'm gonna pick apart a part that I've been reading for like years. So like a couple things I wish they did better. But yeah, that first half is just like so good that I'm gonna fucking love it no matter what.
It's like almost immaculate. Like it's like Chef's Kiss.
Like,
it exists like right below part 7 for me.
Like going through Vitamin C again was just like had so much like hype rereading that, and like it still exists. Like
true.
I wouldn't even say it's immaculate. It's just a good setup that doesn't get paid off.
And like with all parts, like there's the highs and lows. Like I said, we're going through part 3 a lot. Like we've had that stuff that's like awesome and stuff that's like terrible. But it's no part safe from that. We're just gonna critique this more because mysteries.
Yeah.
But I hope JoJolion can like clear up some things. That'd be cool. It'd be interesting to have a part more connected to the part before of like not having a super long time jump. But I just have hopium.
Why you gotta post the dump truck ass?
I just posted the dump truck ass in the chat.
Why you would ruin my fucking...
Damn it, right, Mamazuku?
We sure didn't love seeing him come, but I love to watch him go.
Damn it. Alright, with
All
that...
right, so we're done?
Wait, there's one last thing I want to say.
If anybody made this far... Oh, go ahead.
Wait, before you have one last thing, I have one last thing. I do want to say, also, I agree with you guys, like, I do, as many gripes as I have with JoJolion, I love that we have people out there that care, or not that care. We have people out there that are willing to put up with the bitching and the complaining. So many people, when they're into fandom, they can only see the good and they don't want to acknowledge the bad. Yeah. So I really appreciate that there's people like with us, like getting in the nitty gritty, getting real granular, picking apart every little gripe we have.
Because they'll like something that we didn't like or don't like something we did like, and that it's healthy to have that mindset of like not everything in part 8 is going to be the best thing ever created by the gods.
Yeah, it's
like
cool.
No parts like that.
It's cool that there's people like that, even if a handful of people are just out there saying, "Hey, you're just bitter. Your theories didn't come true," which is true,
so
but you're not supposed to say it.
Yeah. It's just
I'm just here malding over my back.
This is what JoJolion does to a man.
All right, so
his love gone. His faith
are we ready for the final thing?
Yeah, hit us with your final thing.
All right, on the count of 3, in unison, give a big ol' fuck Toru. All right.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Fuck Toru. That was
that
wish he was plankton
too.
All right, we did it.
I wish he was plankton instead.
Ending it off right.
Yeah, but in the comments, definitely post your grievances you want to air out. That's If you made it this far.
Unless they're
True.
grievances with our grievances, in which case keep it to yourself.
we're continuing to be men
No,
that
no,
yells
say
at
them. I'll
clouds.
fight you in the comments.
Yeah, no, that's true. I will also fight you in the comments.
We'll
You guys
continue
are
to yell
big
at
comment
clouds.
crusaders, like fucking watching the comments like a hog.
Fuck the haters. But all right, that everything, Jim.
We're
Yeah,
the
I think-
haters.
Yeah, you can't hate the haters.
hates in us.
You can't hate the hater, hate the game.
It's a double hate. It's a double negative. It turns to a positive.
All right, at this point, I don't even understand what I'm talking about. So,
I'm
What
tired.
am I
do
like?
we want to do? Yeah, let's do a little wrap up, or not a wrap up. Let's do a little plug it up.
Yeah, let
thank
the
you.
guests plug first.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us so much. I really appreciate having you guys on. Thank you for taking time out of your precious lives, where every moment is fleeting. Thank you for
Yes.
spending it with us to bitch about this fucking comic that we like.
Don't
Thanks
worry,
for
I'm
having
already
us.
wasting it. Thank you for having us.
Yes. We'll go in reverse order of the introduction. So, Grayfruit, you want to plug anything? Go ahead.
Lordy. Okay. Really, all I have to plug is my YouTube channel. I don't know. I play video games. Maybe some of you
Oh,
are
you have a
into
YouTube
that.
channel?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's called Grayfruit. Maybe you've heard of it.
I haven't. I have a couple other things to watch. I might check it out later though.
Who's Grayfruit?
Google it. That's what we said before.
put
We
it-
were like, I
I'll
don't know
put it
how
on
to
my watch
introduce
list.
myself. So that people were like, just say Google it. But yeah, I guess I also
Google or
post on
Bing it.
Twitter. It's at the Grayfruit because just Grayfruit was taken. I post funny things on there sometimes. That's about it. But thanks for having me
Toru would
again.
Bing.
Yeah, thanks
no
for
problem.
joining.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to have you back on.
Yeah, you're a ton of fun. Both you guys are a ton of fun to have. And
shucks.
Aeon.
Thanks. You guys are a hoot too.
No.
Hey, come over to my channel if you want to watch videos that are all outdated, aside for like 2 of them, which aren't even the most recent ones. So, yeah, but come and check me out. And if you're interested, I'm working on full JoJolion critique right now. And who knows when that'll come out, but it will
wait.
hopefully come
Yeah, when
out.
it's out.
I'm hoping for a lot of deep references, a lot of little like things that you only get on like the 4th rewatch, like just real depth.
Oh, don't worry. I have like a big section on Haruno and all that shit.
Oh, God.
No, actually, no. That would be awful.
We didn't even talk about that.
Well, it's not real. That's why we didn't talk about it.
We didn't drop that drop, Flop Boy. What?
No, but and also I'm on Twitter if you care. At Radiant Aeonstar because Aeonstar was taken.
Yeah, very
Hate to see
active
it.
on Twitter, I must say, which is good.
Hey,
Not
Doing it right.
that's an
not
insult.
for nothing, but you did spoil.
No, I didn't mean
Kato's
for it to be an
death for me
insult.
on Twitter.
What?
I'm not bitter or anything, but you guys in tandem spoiled Kato's death for me on Twitter. 'Cause I
Wait,
saw
did we?
Oh, no.
I'm so
Brokakaka
sorry.
account retweeted the picture of Kato with like a knife in her side, going, "I'm sure
Really?
she's fine, guys." I was like, "Well,
Good job, Jim.
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's
I-
not
like-
a huge deal."
At some point, I started marking every single one of my JoJolion posts with like JoJolion spoilers,
Yeah.
and then like the hashtag for the chapter, just so that wouldn't happen to people. But fucking, that shit was going on like the fucking pop rock tags on Twitter for some reason. I don't fucking know why.
Yeah, whenever the chapter would come out, I would just not open Twitter at all.
I think
Yeah.
It's
I
probably
think I
wise.
spoiled a bunch of K-pop people on JoJolion's ending.
I mean, K-pop tend to hijack hashtags to put a gif of various K-popers.
I might have also spoiled a couple scientists too. I don't know. Anyway,
It's fine.
Twitter
I'm
is
sure it's
weird.
fine.
Yeah, at this point, like, I mean, I
people
try
don't know-
not to be a bitch, but if for me, like, I see the JoJo hype is like so extreme that if you're not reading it day one, then might as well die.
If you're not going on Twitter with like knowing the dangers of going on Twitter, then what are you even doing?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, unless you get pinged, like, oh, our server has like a helpful little ping as soon as the chapter comes out, you might not know, and then you might see Kato with a big knife in her boobs.
In her
or
big
whatever.
old titties, yeah. Oh well.
You see, I am obsessed and have a hyperfixation, so I am there as soon as the chapter drops every time. So that's not a
Dude,
worry for me. Oh
Hey,
god.
shall I
Oh,
plug up-
also, I just want to say this is totally unrelated. I like that there's a part where Kato tells what's her name? Daya. She's like, hey, you have big boobs. Unfortunately, women in our family, our boobs get smaller as we get older, so enjoy them now.
And then I hit
does that
lie and
work?
just show the evidence of like every member of the Higashikata family.
Also, look how big Kata's boobs are. Imagine how much bigger they were.
Yeah.
All right, I just
Lies.
wanted to share that. Okay.
Can I plug
Closing
any last
remarks.
plugs?
Kato got big titty.
Let me.
I just want everyone to think about
I
that.
can finish the plugs.
Yeah, finish the plugs, so.
All right. Thank you all for making it 2.5 hours into this.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like a crazy person. Please check out other content, like our part 3 stuff that we mentioned, and our Attack on Titan series that we've done or have been doing. It's a lot of fun since there's no JoJolion.
Yeah, we're actually doing a lot of not JoJo stuff right now, which is weird because there's a whole like Cool Shock BT thing we could be covering. Maybe we will soon.
And then follow the podcast on Twitter, me and Jim separately. You can find it all in the descriptions. And I think that's it.
What is
Okay, do
this?
you want to continue? Thank you for
Sorry.
singing
Having an
with my
episode?
plugs.
All right, and on
All
that
right.
note, I think we'll say
It can't
goodbye.
end. It can't end not
Whoa.
chaotically.
See ya.
Wait.
Ciao. Adios.
Goodbye, everyone.
I think he's going through madness.
Bye.
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 Bye. Toru sucks.